Evening, everybody. Welcome into the stage. Appreciate you guys all being here. What's going on? We've got a pre-roll kicking off here in 20 seconds. Pre-roll, 20 seconds. Pre-roll in 20 seconds, and the showtime in 3 minutes and 25 seconds mark. Thank you, guys. Welcome in, everybody. What's going on? How you doing? Welcome in, Talking Trekkers Live. Tonight, the long-awaited breakdown into Elite Solo Wave Defense. It's been a little while. We did it when they first came out. But the Junker is becoming a huge, huge thing, and the contents of the Section 31 faction store are wildly important. What is it that you need? How many starts? Is the one every 3 day enough? We're going to talk tonight all about exactly how the Section 31 store breaks down, how much loot, how many starts, and what completion rate you need in order to accomplish your tasks inside the Section 31 Faction Store. With me tonight, we've got Tarpy Everywhere It Matters and an entire panel of experts. So we are here to share the knowledge with you. Who was here in a Talking Trek server sound off? You guys go ahead and punch it up in chat. And let's see who's here hanging out tonight on your Father's Day. Thank you guys very much for being here. John Drill on 32, Fire Force on server 26, Stradalorian on 9, Noon Whistle on 29, Raj on server 9 as well, Vic Nice on 33. Thank you. What's going on? Spock on 35, Dastros on 32, Check on 84, Omicron on 8, Tarpy hanging out over there on server 70. Thank you. What's going on? Ben to the Robot on 51, Bel Air on the sexy server 70, C Engineering on 36, Max Borg on 138, Striker on 49, Crusito on 13, Lost in on 45. No puzzles tonight. You daggone right about that. Blaze on server 31, Enterprise on server 30. Thank you. Wristbreaker on server 70, Warpish on 118. What's on going on? Gunslinger on 42, Kana Dajal on 187, Game Junior on 30, Newton on 702. What's going on? Negus on 136, Biker on 91. Thank you. Camel on 188, Prime Rex on 26, Don Zeno on 136. Burton on 701, Manxman on 24, General Woomy on 93, Captain Bull hanging out tonight from the flagship server 15, E Double Sharp on 56, Light Steve on 187, thank you, Chewy on 30, Shadowed Fox on 63, J Dread on 201, J Wilson on 36, or S Wilson on 36, Death Blade on 37, Caledon on 89, the list goes on. At least another 40, 50 messages there in the Talking Trek server sound off. What's up? Welcome in. Appreciate you guys. How you doing? Welcome into the show. Appreciate you guys all being here. Good evening to our panel of esteemed guests tonight. Everywhere It Matters and Tarpitude are on the stage. Good evening, ladies and gents. How are you?
Yeah, how are you doing?
I am doing very well. Thank you. Happy Father's Day to you, Matters. And happy Father's Day to Strider over there, no doubt hanging out. And we appreciate all father figures all across the lands, all across the world. It's not just about dads. It's about stepdads. It's about foster dads. It's about single moms who have to be dads. It is about those special uncles. It's about granddaddies. It's about anybody who provides a positive, strong influence in anyone's life. It's about anybody who supports, cares, and loves somebody, and that is what Father's Day is all about. Thank you. Happy Father's Day to all those who check that box. That's right. Doggy daddies, kitty daddies, lizard daddies. All right. Happy Father's Day to you, Tom Paris. Appreciate all of you. That's right. Fathers and father-like figures near and far. I actually saw this. Tarpy, you might have seen this. This was over in... I think this was over in the content creator Discord today. If I can find it, let me see if I can find it. It was actually a really good note. CDB, fellow content creator, CDB to you, dropped this. Today we celebrate the captains, engineers, and tactical officers in our lives, our dads, father figures, and mentors who've boldly gone above and beyond for us. Whether he taught you the prime directive or just how to command a ship through life's toughest battles, give a salute to the father figure who's always had your back, shields up or not. Here's to the father figures who raise warriors, explorers, and maybe even the occasional Ferengi. Drop a heart and give love if you're celebrating today, and share your favorite Star Trek quote or dad moment with the fleet. Live long and prosper. The collective must grow. Sincerely, CDB to you. I thought that was an incredibly crafted, well-crafted note. I thought that was very, very nice, and it was very, very good. Enterprise says, I'm the fun uncle to 3, soon to be 4 lovely nieces, and I got them a Star Trek ABC's book, and that is awesome. You know, really, it's not anything at all. Listen, it doesn't have to be blood. It doesn't have to be. It's anything. Like, you know, there's father figures out there, mentors. Just, you know, hey. Anybody who loves somebody, today is a day you should be celebrating, all right? If you love somebody, you're providing somebody guidance in life, all right? There you go. It's not limited to dads. It's not limited to men. It's not limited to biological distinctiveness. It is, hey, today is a day for anybody who has helped someone young grow up. And I think that is a phenomenal thing to celebrate. Appreciate you guys all being here tonight. Welcome in. Speaking of helping and nurturing the next generation, want to thank you guys so very much for your crazy support yesterday. I got a wonderful note from OG Little Hippie this morning. She was absolutely floored with gratitude, Tarpy, from this community. You guys are incredible. I am reminded, I was reminded of a story. Somebody actually mentioned this to me in a DM earlier today. They were like, the last person that experienced this kind of crazy generosity from outside the community ended up being the vice president of Scopely themselves. Beck likes plants, all right? Hey, listen, OG, if you're looking for a CM job, I might know somebody, okay? I might know somebody. But, yeah, no, she was just absolutely floored with the love and generosity and the support that came here today, or came yesterday. You guys were incredible. Lost In was a big part of that. Lost In is going crazy in our chat right now. What are you doing? Lost In has already dropped 53 gifted subs in our chat today. What are you doing, dude? What?
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Let me say thank you to supporters of our show here today. Of course, Lost In, Papa Smurf, PM Brat, Consolo Parker, and Delisha. Thank you, Dr. Iron Chef. Appreciate that. E Double Sharp, Shadowed Fox, Life Steez, Newton, Broken Wolf, Zoidberg. Thank you guys all so very much. Into a level 8 hype train, which is already insane. Thank you guys so very much. Obviously, for the live studio audience, do know that if we hit a level 10, then at the conclusion of our show today, we will give away a $100 pack. All right, that will happen today outside of the taping of the podcast. So we've got that. But yeah, no, it was really, really incredible. She was floored. She's an incredible streamer. I love her community. Before the show, Tarpy, I had kind of given a little bit of a blip as to why. I might even have it here. Let me see. Did I tape it? I'll plug it in right here on playback. Just a little bit of a blip about why that community means so much to me and why I'm so pleased that you guys got to know her. Check this out. And right there is exactly why it was an absolutely phenomenal time yesterday. And you guys were incredibly wild. For those of you in the live studio audience, that's what we call a media break. All right. I know Tarby's like, wait, are we supposed to be hearing something? No, we're going to fix it in production. We're going to fix it in post-prod, all right? As a matter of fact, right there, Matters, if you would, will you DM me a quick timestamp at 58:30? 58:30. Zoidberg says, do we have a clip of the table flip? I do. I don't know if I should play it simply because it's full of foul language, all right? Yesterday, I could not. 9 hours in or 10 hours in, I don't even know what it ended up being, Tarpy. How long? 10 hours?
Too long.
Too long. This was supposed to be a 3-hour puzzle. It was supposed to be a 3-hour puzzle. I don't understand. Thank you. Lost In, what are you doing? Lost In has just dropped another 30, resetting the hype train clock. And right there, another bonus stream.
Another bonus stream.
Another bonus stream. I'm never going off the air. Ever.
Oh?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a 3-hour puzzle. Riskbreaker says, I don't know why you thought that. Omicron says, so it was like watching a Beck pre-arc video. Yeah, I guess. This was insane. This was absolutely mind-boggling how difficult this puzzle was. So 10 hours later, neither one of us had finished. Neither one of us had finished. 10 hours later, and I will censor this. So if you're in the live studio audience, you're getting ready to hear a dirty word. I'll censor this for the podcast. But if you were here for this, I completely lost it, Tarpy.
Yeah, you did.
I lost my mind.
It was kind of funny.
Oh God, I couldn't deal with it. It was, first of all, I kept trying to goad her into quitting. I kept trying to get her to resign. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to lose. I still didn't want to lose. Okay, but I was trying to get her to quit. And first of all, she's wild. She's crazy. Why did she not quit? Why did she had the patience of a saint. She was going to finish that puzzle if it killed her. Okay? I mean, this girl was on stream for 9 hours, didn't eat anything. And I kept trying to get her to quit. All right? That's right. She's more man than I am. Here's a clip right here for you. Are you committed to finishing it?
Are you?
Fuck no. No, I'm done with this shit. Done with it.
Let's go.
Fuck that puzzle, man. Fuck it. I lost my damn mind, Tarpy. I could not. I don't know what came over me.
You shouldn't be laughing.
I don't know what
But
came
I'm
over me.
laughing.
All right. What happened was the devil entered my soul at that moment. All right. You heard what I said at the very beginning. All right. At the very beginning, I'm like, are you actually committed? We're 10 hours at this point. Are you committed to finishing this thing, OG? Like, are you sure? And then you heard what she said. Like, I almost had her, Tarpy. She was like, are you? Are you committed to finishing it? I almost had her. And then yeah, that's exactly right, Omicron. She made me tap out. When she said, are you? All right, I knew right then she wasn't quitting. All right, she was playing the same game I was, man. She was playing the same game I was. That's right. That was Uno reverse, okay? I was trying to psych her out. All right? I was trying to psych her out, and then you know, she knew I wasn't going to. I knew right then that she wasn't going to tap out. She's like, are you going to quit? I'm like, yep, I guess so. Might as well. I'm going to have to quit right here. So then I got in my own head. Victor, 10 hours in? 10 hours in? I couldn't do it. All right. So anyway, congratulations. She beat me at my own game, Jondrel. You're absolutely right. She flipped the table on me, Silvertab, you could say. Absolutely. No, it was yeah, that's right, Caledon. Better at it than you, DJs. Girl power all the way. She must have been a Romulan Tal Shiar agent. Dude, she was in my head, man. Dude. Yeah, credit to her. Credit to her. And this is correct, Blaze. This is after 2 hours of Moopsy absolutely torturing me. This was after. Did I even get to touch my puzzle for an hour and a half? Probably not.
No.
For like that last hour and a half. For an hour and a half. Now I just want to show you on this screen. Okay. This, first of all, this is my pain and misery look right here. But if you look at the puzzle, okay? If you look at the puzzle, I did pretty good for seeing as how I probably actually had 3 less hours of working on it than she did. All right. And that was after how many spinny cats? 1,000. There was 1,000 spinny cats yesterday. Nope. It's turned off. Oh, wait, it's not turned off. Oh, crap. It's not actually turned off. Hold on. Wait. Do not press that button. Lost In just dropped another 25. Oh, my God. And
thank you. And
Lost In just dropped another 25 gifted and secured a level 10. So there you go, live audience. You stick around afterwards, and you'll have an opportunity to win a free USS Reliant after the show. All right, yeah, that's right. There's the level 10. Lost In, thank you very much. That was epic. Thank you. And securing another bonus stream. I think we're up to 4 now. Thank you. Manxman, thank you. Purple Mama. Manxman, I recognize your name. You were contributing to the chaos yesterday. Every time I turned around, Manxman was putting time on my clock. All right. Yeah, Logo says the spinny cats were getting crazy yesterday. Flipped my mental table into that one. Yeah, it was absolutely nuts. Blaze says DJ sacrificed his sanity so the rest of us could have a good time. We thank you for it. It was a great time. I'm glad you guys had fun, but I'm telling you, oh gosh. So C Engineering sent me a message last night. And said, hey, here's a couple more puzzles you might enjoy. I'm like, dude, I can't look at a puzzle again for a while. He's like, oh, no, you really should. Like, they're actually very peaceful. I'm like, right now, my blood pressure's just rising, just thinking about it. But I'm telling you, man, that puzzle, I like puzzles. That puzzle might have been the most difficult puzzle I've ever put together. Tarpy, I mentioned this yesterday during the stream. I had a puzzle that was sent to me a couple of years ago. By a member of this community. It was the puzzle where all the pieces were shaped like kitty cats. That puzzle was easier than yesterday's puzzle. I don't remember who sent that, but I've built that puzzle. I've built that puzzle twice, actually, and it was easier than the one yesterday. Oh, my God, it was insane. And then Seth coming in, Tarpy, towards the end, and he absolutely contributed to my bout of insanity. All right, he pushed me over the edge. All right, he pushed me over the edge. He made sure that I couldn't touch my puzzle for at least 90-some minutes, maybe 2 hours. And then when I finally did, he messed with me so hard, he let me work on my puzzle for like 3 minutes and then timed me out again. And that was what you see here.
Wasn't that 3 minutes when he was getting another drink?
Yeah, something like that. Like he let me work on my puzzle for just a couple of minutes, and then he came back and timed me out again. And this is what you see. This right here is my despair. I'm just dying in my chair tonight. Oh, I'm just dying in my chair tonight. Oh, it must have been something Seth did, and it was I couldn't. I just couldn't handle it anymore. Then you guys saw what happened after that. You guys saw what happened after that.
Post the screenshot that I sent you of yourself.
You said, "Oh, hold on. Which? Oh, yeah, yeah." At one point, there was some frustration. Let me see if I can find this screenshot. I did get a screenshot that Tarpy sent me of one of the times that Moopsy had just donated something crazy, like 30 or 40 subs. Gave me like a 45-minute timeout. That resulted in this right here. I just sat back and I just hung out here for a minute. That's in the graphics room. Timestamp 10:03 Eastern Time PM. 10:03 p.m. Eastern Time. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. All right. That was for you, Moopsy. That was for you, Moopsy. So anyway, it was a lot of fun though. In all seriousness, thank you guys so much. It was a wildly fun day, despite the insanity, despite the difficulty of the puzzle. It was a great time. It was a lot of fun with a new streamer, a new member of the community, and just incredible human. And I had a lot of fun with it. All right, I had a lot of fun with it. So thank you guys for that. It was absolutely incredible. Thank you all. Tonight, Plugster, thank you for dropping 5 gifted. We are in a level 10 hype train. Only a few seconds left on that. Thank you. Purple Mama, Shadowed Fox, thank you guys. I appreciate the hydrate tonight. Enjoying here at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. What could possibly go wrong? My tonight refreshing hydrates brought to you by Strawbango Ghost Energy. 200 milligrams of caffeine, 1,000 milligrams of carnitine for legendary energy, epic focus, and none of the crash. Use !Amazon to go online and buy yours today. !Amazon to support Talking Trek and buy your favorite flavor out of multiple varieties of flavor of Ghost Energy. It's available at !Amazon. Tarpy says, I'm shocked you're drinking at this time of day. I've got a lot of work to do. It's fine. That's refreshing. So anyway, all right, guys, for the last couple of weeks, I wanted to take some time out. I wanted to dive into the world of elite solo wave defense. Now, the biggest reason that I did this, Tarpy, is because a month ago, I found myself out of Section 31 access keys. All right, this is the thing that I wanted to talk about tonight. I talked to Matters about it. I talked to Tarpy about it, and I don't understand. I found that I couldn't continue the pace of buying what I wanted to buy out of the Section 31 faction store with the income that I had. Now, the income that I should specify, the income specifically being one pull every 3 days. All right. Now, Stradalorian says, don't forget about the Prime Start bundle. I don't own it. Deathblade says, I haven't seen Griffin. Is he doing okay? Yes, he is working. He is in Orlando today. And actually, I just got a text from him 4 or 5 minutes ago. He's doing well and sends his love. But yeah, he's out of town working. He should be back this week. Now, I do not own the Prime Start bundle. Probably is worth it. We've talked about that, Matters, when it went for sale. We talked about the value in that Prime. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to make this show about buying a Prime. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, the Prime Start bundle is definitely going to help this, but I am going into this from a free-to-play perspective. Okay? And when I say a free-to-play perspective, I'm also going to provide a light spend perspective. I'm going to talk about the Wave Defense Battle Pass. Now, one of the things that we like to do, or at least I like to do, okay? One of the things that I like to do in this game is hoard my Battle Pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to hoard my Battle Pass. I like to claim it all at the end of the month. I have no idea why. All right, I don't know. That's just kind of a thing that I've always done. It's probably, as a matter of fact, I have definitive evidence, mathematical evidence, that it's a bad idea. Or it can be a bad idea. You see what I'm saying? We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight and the importance of that one pull every 3 days. The fact that there's a 400 access key or a 400 directive cap. All right. Voltron says we hoard it for Syndicate, and maybe so. But now I have to choose. And this is what I want to talk about tonight. There's a choice. All right. Either I'm going to have to bulk play crazy when I claim the Section 31 Battle Pass, or I'm going to have to sacrifice one of my Syndicate advancement events. Now, we could talk about whether or not that's worth it or not. I'm going to talk to you about the strategy that I am going to try to employ this month, because when I went through this thing this month, I am finding myself in a much better position when I noticeably and intentionally changed my strategy. And that strategy this month was to make sure that I got my one pull every 3 days. That is very difficult, especially if you have a Battle Pass, especially if you paid for the Battle Pass. In a manner of speaking, paying for the Battle Pass is capable of messing you up throughout the month. All right? It's capable of it if we don't do it properly. In other words, exactly what this community is known for, Tarpy, min-maxing it, right? How are we going to get the most efficiency out of that Battle Pass? How are we going to get the most bang for our buck? How are we going to get the most rewards? All right, so that's what we're going to talk about here tonight. I have taken the liberty of preparing a very ugly spreadsheet, but we are also going to share the beauty that is Jules Verne's spreadsheet, okay? I've got an ugly one. Jules Verne has pretty ones, and I've got some data off of both of these that I want to share with you guys tonight. So, and for those of you in podcast, obviously we do have the spreadsheet from Jules that I will throw into the graphics room. That is in the graphics room right now. And mine, I'll just throw screenshots in because it's not anything that's shareable. It was just me doing some napkin math, okay? Just doing some napkin math. Now, when I am also referring to the elites. The elites are important, important to me right here. But we can also be looking at the traditional. Either way, we're looking at solo wave defense. Solo wave defense. Because the solo wave defense are dropping the access keys. The access keys are the currency that is going to get us the majority of what it is that we want out of this store. When we come over to the faction store and take a look, Jules also has everything in here, everything all prepared as to what costs Section 31 access keys, everything down through this chart, what the cooldowns are, and everything that is here regarding what actually costs. He actually has it broken down into the original Section 31 credits, the mirror credits, but then also the Section 31 access keys. All right, and that is where I'm going to focus on tonight because this is where I find there to be the most value. Okay, so if we take a look at the Section 31 access keys, this is where we're going to be spending most of our time here tonight. And in my opinion, matters, it's probably one of the more valuable currencies that can be provided by completing a wave. Now, obviously, depending on what wave you are completing, depends on how many of the access keys you're going to get. Both solos and elites will drop the access keys. All right. And they are labeled in Jules's chart as just access. Here's the regular solo wave defense. You can also look at the elite solo wave defense. So if we were looking at this, say, for example, Tarpy for an Ops, say, 55. All right. An Ops 55 who should hopefully be taking a look at the, if you're going to do the regulars, the G5 solo wave defense, where you could earn potentially up to 3,700 access keys per wave. All right. Or if they're going to take a look, maybe they're pretty beefy. Maybe they're not squishy like DJs. And they can look at doing G5 elites. All right. Well, you can almost double it up. You can go from 3,700 to 6,300 by clearing that G5. Now, clearing the G5 solo, by the way, clearing the G5 Elite, that's no small task. It's actually pretty stout accomplishment. All right, to clear a G5 Elite. All right, they're pretty tough, especially Wave 5. Also within this spreadsheet, and what I will post a screenshot of in the graphics room, is just the top portion of a chart that is wildly important. Lost In and Cruzito and a couple of people actually blew me up on this here a couple of days ago to talk about why I needed to pay very close attention to the strategy that I was employing with my wave defense. Because I was kind of thinking, maybe it's worth me trying to punch and see if I can do a G6 and clear wave 4. Well, no, there's no point in it. I would actually be giving up 3,000 loot. As a matter of fact, the highest paying solo wave defense is a G6 Elite clearing wave 5. Well, that's no surprise. All right, that's absolutely no surprise. That's the most challenging, most difficult wave there is. A G6 Elite and then clearing the whole thing. Wave 5. All right. But the second highest payout is not wave 4 of a G6, for example. The second best payout at 6,300 is a G5 Elite wave, clearing it at wave 5. Because if you clear wave 4 of the G6 solo, it's only worth 6,000 access keys as compared to the G5 Elite wave 5, which pays 6,300. Now, 300 access keys, is that important? Well, yeah. It kind of is when you're talking about that is how much currency difference per wave. So now the question becomes, how many waves do we actually get to pull in a month? How many do we get to run in a singular month? Matters? Let me ask you. How many waves do I get to start in a single month free to play?
How many do you get to start?
How many do you get to start? I'm asking because I see your ridiculously preposterous.
I get to start as many as I want.
Yeah, I see your ridiculously preposterous screenshot in the chat right now that shows that he is currently holding on to 3,300 solo wave defense starts. Why? Just curious. Why?
What do you mean why?
Why?
I do enough to do the pulls that I do every day.
Really?
I double pull most of the artifacts, but I only single pull Scottish Trident, which is expensive because it has other sourcing. I also only single pull the DTI plaque because we got a bunch of them in the BP when it came out, and it's not super awesome. It's just a bit more base damage against it. I mean, it's a decent size, but it's still just more base damage against the Krenim invading entities. I don't pull any of the officers yet. That's always my overflow. I tend to save them for the end, and they're the retaliation squad. So
yeah, so they don't really matter.
And the chaos tech that's in there, they just happen to take it. Looks like the chaos techs that I had already bought and put them in the S31 store. So I didn't need them.
Okay.
So I'm pulling, and I've dropped down to single pulls of the DTI building materials because it's almost completely caught up to my level. I don't know. When I get things almost maxed, I drop to single pulls because I don't have to do more waves.
Okay. That's not a wrong answer, by the way. All right. That's a fine answer. And I would almost agree with him. As a matter of fact, Tarpy, 2 months ago, I did agree with that. And then I ran out of ciphers, and I couldn't figure out why. And for me, mathematically, what I eventually discovered is that I was missing the one start every 3 days. I'm going to bring you a really disgustingly ugly spreadsheet, guys. All right. And when I say disgustingly ugly, it's because I made it, and it wasn't for the intent or purpose of sharing anything. I'll throw just my first version of it in the graphics room, where we're about 10:15. This is my first version in the graphics room that I would like to show you guys. And this I made just for me. okay? This is just for me to kind of help me map out what it is that I am looking for throughout an entire month. If I rely specifically solely, why is it gray? I did that so it wouldn't blind you guys. All right, I may. Oops. Oh, no. What did I do? Undo. There we go. Okay, got it back. I did this so it wouldn't blind you guys. All right. I just hit F11 to try to make it go full screen, get rid of the white, but it's not working. Anyway, I did this based on me. I also wrote down the pulls that I am pulling, and I wrote down what they're costing me and kind of figured out the dates. Okay. I want to start with the three sources of starts. Okay. First of all, if I'm not doing any Battle Pass, I'm not doing anything, I'm not buying any, can't do anything, then I'm getting one start every 3 days. Over the course of a 30-day period, that basically gives me 10 starts. If I'm working the clock, okay, if I let even 1 day go, then I am down potentially a start. And when I say 1 day, I mean I'm letting myself sit on the timer at my cap. My cap is 400 Section 31 private ciphers. Basically, I always want this clock to be moving. Now, as a real quick aside, Lawson says, I should not share that working sheet with Jules in the audience. I know, he's probably nauseous. That's probably why he showed up. Somebody tipped him off that there was an ugly spreadsheet being used, and he magically appeared. All right. Jules says, at least it's gray and not neon. Yeah, see, the last one I sent him was like neon green and like neon purple, stuff like that. All right.
That was terrible.
Yeah, I loved it. Anyway, I love bright colors. So, and real quick, just as a really brief technical note, all right, you have 2 bundles here in this store. And just in case somebody's not familiar with how Scopely bundle IDs work, I'm going to give you a quick little tip. Most of you guys probably know this. This bundle under the cooldown is 1 bundle ID. It has a cooldown of 70 hours, 3 days, okay? Even if you hit your 400 cap, and you claim this, and let's say it was your 400th, and then it cycles over to bundle ID number 2, which is a 5-minute speed up or whatever you get, the overflow, okay? You don't have to take it down right away. It will not restart that clock. In other words, I do technically have 70 hours to spend 100 of my ciphers. And when I come back, after I drop to 300 ciphers, I will still have that original time. It will not start the 3 days over. It doesn't do anything. It'll be whatever the original cooldown was. So in other words, right now, I've got 20 hours, 40 minutes on my chest. If I went to the Solar Wave Defense Battle Pass and I claimed a milestone that put me above 400, and then I spent one of those, and I come back into my store, I'm still going to have 20 hours and 40 minutes on there, okay? So it doesn't restart. It doesn't reset. It is a working clock in the background. So if you go up above your 400, as long as you get it back down below 400 before that original timer would have run out, then you still have not lost any time, okay? So that's a technical note number 1 that I want to make. And that is vitally important for how I'm going to teach this bulk play mentality here in just a little bit. So right off the bat, all right, I get 10 starts. Next thing I want to do is I want to figure out how much loot I can earn. For me personally, and we're going to do this for a couple of different ops perspectives here tonight, Tarpy, but for me personally, I can clear G5 Elite Waves. So that means I'm earning 6,300. I'm going to earn 6,300 per wave. Those are the access keys, wave 5, G5 Elite. So I'm going to earn 6,300 of those. All right. That is how much loot I'm going to get off one of those, which means over the course of an entire month, I can earn, just by working my clock, 63,000 of the access keys. Okay. That's the loot. Now, I also have, and this is just working the clock. Okay. Now, I've also got 2 more sources of starts. And one of those is also completely free to play. That would be the Wave Defense Battle Pass free track. Okay, the free track. It is 20 milestones. It has a ton of grace period built in it. But if you go through and you check every single milestone, you are going to find 7 of those milestones that contain 100 private ciphers. All right, that basically means that the entire free track of the Battle Pass is going to source you 7 starts throughout the month. Okay, not this one. That's Mirror. All right, not that one. That's Mirror, but this one right here, private ciphers. All right, there's 7 of them in the free track. And, ironically, Tarpy, there's also 7 in the paid track. Okay, 7 up top, 7 down below. So this is what I have labeled here in this screenshot. All right, is the free track of the Battle Pass and the paid track of the Battle Pass, each giving me 7 starts. Well, presumably, I am going to continue to earn the same amount that I could earn basically with my free ones. That's how many I'm doing. And that means I'm earning another 44,000 basically just off of the free track of the Battle Pass. And then if I spend that $20, I'm going to earn another 44,000. For a grand total of 151,000 loot. If I look at just the free-to-play loot, then I'm going to actually sum just these top 2 numbers, all right? Which would be 107,000 loot. That is my max potential of loot throughout the month. Now, Matters just came in and said, hey, I've got enough. I don't need to work the clock. I've got enough to pull what I want to pull. Well, that may be. I am looking at this, and I wanted to pull a few extra things. I actually want to take a look, and let's share with you a couple of things that I like pulling out of this store. As a matter of fact, my cooldowns are still on, so I'd like to show you. All right? I pull the quantum communicators. By the way, I pull the double pull of that because my command center is still not maxed for my level. All right? Riskbreaker says, who pulls just 1 rare Zindy chest? Crazy enough, I am right now, Riskbreaker. Right now, I am. Okay? This, to me, is also kind of something like Matters mentioned that the officers are kind of a little bit more endgame, and that is kind of for me, too. I want to knock out the artifacts first, and then I'll circle back around to the rare directives. Okay? But I am pulling them, and that's giving me 1 free rare basically every 5 days. All right, so I am pulling the cheaper one right now. Voltron says I'm pulling 5,000 a week. I'm actually pulling 7,000 a week. All right, I'm pulling 1 free start every 5 days because I pull the 1,000 every day. Okay, and that's just kind of a pacing thing for me. Now, if I take a look in my chest, right there, 700 access keys, that's what I'm spending on that chest. What I did down here is, and for those of you in podcasts, again, this is all part of that same spreadsheet that I posted in there. I just kind of wrote down the cost and the items of what it is that I personally am spending on. All right, and I want to point out also that all of this data is in Jules' chart. If you go to the Section 31 faction store, you will be able to see every single item with every single cost. So you could take a look and see what it is that's important to you. All right. Denver says, why would a G6 player need Zindy directives? I love doing Zindy Armadas. All right. Tarpy, why might a G6 player like doing Zindy directives? Any idea?
Sorry, had to unmute there. So Alliance tournament tasks, for one, if you
Sure.
don't have a lot of your choice rewards ready yet.
Yeah.
Artifacts, more basically. And the rares in the Armadas have that bonus chest for G6.
Yeah,
That's
they
a nice little bonus every few days.
Yep, they sure do. They've got this bonus thing that comes with parts, comes with materials, comes with rare parts, comes with Sigma speed-ups, comes with Sigma resources, comes with temporal disruptors. Listen, the Zindy Armadas, they're a nice little jackpot. Okay? Nice little jackpot.
Oh, they're G6, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, you get, and you're right, these the Book of the Coast of Mojin, Iconian Gateway, Chrome with B Portal, some of you guys probably have these maxed. I don't. All right, I don't have these things maxed yet, but it is something I'm working on. But this is also something down here. You take a look at extra ship blueprints. And before anybody says anything about the ship blueprints, listen, even though I'm G6, G5 scrapping will come eventually. It's going to happen. There is zero chance that it's not going to happen. All right, it's going to happen. So that's why I'm continuing to earn these blueprints. I'm going to build these ships. I am going to max these ships over and over and over again. All right, that is
And
going
look
to
where
happen.
you are in those officers.
What's that?
Look where you are on the NX01 officers for your number of maxed epic officers.
Oh, for sure.
So if you scroll down to the bottom, you're already fairly far on officers. You probably don't use that frequently,
Nah.
but this chest is easy to pull.
It is easy to pull. It is easy to pull. And I'm also looking at temporal disruptors here. All right, and the odds on the temporal disruptors are pretty decent. All right, they're good. So you are going to pull several thousand of these every single time. Okay. Now I do also see the question in chat: why am I looking at Amelia Earhart's plane? Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at a couple of these that I am pulling and why I might be pulling them. Okay, Amelia Earhart's plane. That's the first question that people are asking about. Amelia Earhart's plane increases G6 ship material cost efficiency. I'm sorry, why wouldn't I buy that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was going to ask about the friendship probe.
Increases
Like, why are you pulling that one?
G5 ship material cost efficiency. Okay, again, why wouldn't I buy that? I am prepping for G5 scrapping.
So
Okay, but
One-
single pull.
one thing about the friendship probe is if you have a lot of G5 mats, because this is just G6 or G5 mats, not G5 parts.
Correct.
If you have a lot of G5 parts and your efficiency keeps going higher and higher and higher for G5, you're going to get less points or fewer points per ship that you're maxing for the more G5 efficiency that you have.
That is always a thing. And yeah, Cruzito says you're killing yourself in an SLB. Come on, guys. After 6 years, do you guys not remember that I don't believe in solo leaderboards? For 6 years, I've told you guys that they are a bonus. They are gravy on top. Who cares? In my bracket, I have literally never won one. Zero. Never. Ever. Okay? Never. And you're right, Convoluted. For me, G5 doesn't score in the SLB anyway. You know where I use a lot of this stuff? Faction Hunt. I use a lot of this stuff in Faction Hunt. And, of course, I will eventually, as I am prepping, to make sure that my scrapper is always running. What is it? The ABCs always be crapping? Except it's scrapping, so I don't know why we say the ABCs. I don't know. That's just a thing. Why do you guys say that, by the way? Rev says it too. I always see it in the chat. Oh, ABCs. Remember your ABCs of scrapping? All right, what are the ABCs of scrapping? Always be what? I don't know what the actual C is in the ABCs of scrapping. But anyway, the point is, don't act like you guys don't know what I'm talking about. All you guys have been talking about that. All right. Everyone's like, you know what the ABCs of scrapping are? Well, no, I don't know. Always be churning? I don't know. I don't know what it is. Now, Cruzito says I'm hurting myself in the new SMS model as well. Well, there's two schools of thought. And by the way, you're not wrong. Mathematically, you're exactly right. Tarpy is exactly right. You are hurting yourself in the SMS. You're hurting yourself in the solo leaderboard. But then there's the perspective of one certain mathematical genius, Jules Verne, who says, listen, I'm never going to turn down an efficiency. That just means my stuff goes further. That means instead of building one ship, I can build two for the same price.
Well, faction credits.
Okay, but faction credits are also a totally different section of sourcing. All right, and yes, I agree. For that one single ship component, it's going to get you less points, but we're also looking at efficiencies on materials. We're looking at other efficiencies on parts. We're looking at other efficiencies on resources. We're looking at all this stuff, all right? Not only that, Andy says, listen, we are seeing Scopely absolutely ramp up on everything right now because G7 is just around the corner. All right? Brandon says none of that matters until we get a bigger supply of Tritanium. Tritanium has been increasing, and again, that is also going to continue to increase, and there's efficiencies for that as well. Tarpy, yes.
At some point, I'd like you, not necessarily today, but to look at the cost of your SMS for your officers. So if the SMS is where you're getting the value for getting your officers, I want you to look at the tier 1 SMS and how much it costs you in mats to max a G5 Epic on Spox Club.
Oh, it's insane.
And then
it's really bad. Okay? Which is why it doesn't matter.
So efficiency, if you're thinking in the scale of ship hanger slots,
which is
having
why I'm
greater
not.
efficiency for your current generation is great. For a past generation is actually maybe not helping you so much right now.
Well, and again, I don't do it for solo milestones. I don't do it for solo leaderboards. I don't do it for any of those reasons. All right?
Okay.
Somebody who builds 7 ships to finish an SMS, I think that's humorous. All right? I know some of you guys do it. I'm not whatever. You guys can do it. I think that's silly to me. All right? I'm not doing that. All right?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I know that some people do. I'm not.
Yep. So just before you go on, people would like to understand the I button that you just pressed, because I think you blew a few minds.
So inside the artifact gallery, there is a little button up next to your filter, a little information button that will literally flip your screen over and tell you what every single artifact does. If you didn't know that. That has been here for a very, very long time, and it's an amazing feature. I'll pop this, just a screenshot into the graphics room for the podcast audience, but that is that little I button up next to your filter, and it'll flip every artifact to show you what it actually does, your bonus level, and what it is. Okay? Now, Cruzito says, how is he getting the officers if he's not concerned about the SMS? Well, this month I'm not. All right? Some months I will. But you know what? How I'm doing it? Again, this is, I know I can't have it all, and I know I can't have it now. All right? Like, I'm cool with that. What I do is I finish the SMS with the points that actually matter, which is my current generation, my G6 generation of materials. Because, again, as Tarpy just pointed out, accurately, by the way, you would have to max 7 G5 ships to complete one heroic event. That is insanity. Why would anybody want to do that? And we wonder why we don't have enough ship hanger slots. All right? And again, I'm not faulting anybody. I'm just saying you got to play within the parameters of the game. It was awesome that they gave you guys 11 new ship slots this month. Don't count on that happening very often. Okay? I wouldn't count on that happening all the time. You got to work within the parameters of the game. That is a lot of faction credits. That's insane, Risk Breaker. It's a lot of faction credits. It's a lot of tritanium. It's a lot of materials. It's a lot of parts. The whole point of the change. Hang on, please. The whole point of the change in the scoring for the milestones and the SLBs here, about a year and a half ago, is that it puts more emphasis on the current generation of materials and resources and puts more emphasis on progression than it does on going back and building 7 previous grade generation ships. K92 says some of us have nothing left to spend on and you should be able to source officers. I don't disagree. Scopely has failed in that regard. All right, I don't disagree. But I also, K92, am pointing out that you don't have to do them all. I mean, can you really build 21 ships this month? Can you actually build 21 ships this month? And moreover, why would you want to? I mean, can you? Do you have the hangar space to build 21 ships? Because, by the way, if you're building G5s, you can't even get rid of them. Now, I might argue that it could be fine if Scopely introduced G5 scrapping, but they haven't, which, again, is another problem of theirs, admittedly. All right? But that is a level 70 problem. I'm not disagreeing. Vic says that's first world problems. No, that's not even first world. That's just advanced position problem. Okay? Scopely has a problem there. They have to address it. But in a silo, which I understand is not what we're looking at, but in a silo, no. The SMSs for officers, that is not what I'm dumping 7 ships a month into it. Ape says, I'm going to wait for G5 scrapping to really go after it, which is why I'm not really going after it. I'm not building 7 ships for one officer milestone. All right. But I am going to prep for my efficiency. I am going to make this better because at the end of the day, for me, it's not about the SLBs. It's about prepping for G5 scrapping, which will be here around the corner. And when it happens, I mean, we've done entire shows. We've done entire charts. There's charts out there about the ship scrapping profitability. And I am hoping for the first time in multiple generations that Scopely gets this one right. All right? They didn't really get G4 right at all. G3 was nice. G4 was okay, but only for one ship type, and that was an accident probably. So I'm looking for that to be done better. Looking for that to be done better this time. And if that's the case, I'm going to come back to the ABCs. Your scrapper should always be running. And I want there to be something valuable in my scrapper all the time. All the time. And I fully agree. Steven Zarin, holy smokes! What are you doing, baby? How are you? Haven't seen you in weeks. But yeah, listen, when it comes, it'll probably be 7 days, 10 days, something like that. It'll probably be a really long time, which is also why ship scrapping speed is something I'm not going to slouch on right now. K92 says, I'd pay for $100 Prime just to have a delete button from my hangar. Well, I mean, that's probably something that they could think about doing better, but why would you want it? Guru says, how do you afford ship blueprints to always keep it running? Guru, they're doing it with LAT. They're doing it with LAT. You can buy a ship for a couple 100 million LAT. All right, which I know sounds insane, but that's what they're doing. Canine Tooth, how long does it take you to build? How much LAT does it take to buy a G5 Epic? I think it's like 350 million LAT, 400 million LAT. All right, so I mean,
That's 100 million lat more than I have.
I know it's a lot. Okay, but that's what they're doing. All right, so that was just the question, which is why I don't support it. Okay, that might be fine for them, but that is not where 99% of the rest of the game is. We can't do that. So, is the SMS and the SLB going to be the basis of my teaching? Hell no, it's not. Absolutely, it is not. For 99% of us, we actually have current generational progress to make. And that's where you're getting your points in the SMS and SLB. It's not going back and building previous generation stuff. All right? That's not where it is. So, am I that worried about G5 ship material cost efficiency? No. And am I worried about G6 ship material cost efficiency? Yeah, because I need those parts. I am on a shortage of all of this stuff right now. I need it to go farther. I can look in Spock's Club right now and realize that I do not have enough materials to go to 70. I do not have enough materials to max my ships. I do not have enough materials to build the next ship. I do not have enough materials to do anything. So efficiency rules all. So that's why I'll continue to work on these. Now, circling way, way back after that nice little sidebar. Thank you guys for the question. All right. Circling back for the sidebar, from the sidebar. Am I after these efficiencies? You betcha. Both G6 and G5. So coming back into my fancy pants little chart here. Okay. There's my Friendship 1 and my Amelia's plane. I'm pulling the 360 option of these. All right. Which is the 3 chest pull. All right. Here from Jules Verne's chart. It's the 3 chest pull of Friendship 1 and Amelia Earhart's plane. I'm not doing the 1, I'm doing the 3. And they are evenly costed. 1 chest is 120, 3 chests is 360. That's actually very, very nice. I like that. Okay? So that's what I'm doing there. So there's more access keys that I'm spending out. The Anorak's data pad, totally doing that. All right, that's an artifact. The Lurpa, Scotty's Trident scanner. Absolutely. And by the way, Matters is right. That one is pretty daggone expensive. Why? Why is Scotty's Trident scanner so much more expensive than everything else? Well, let's take a look and see what it actually does. Scotty's Trident scanner increases the base cost efficiency of ship parts. Gee, it feels like we just had this conversation 2 minutes ago. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe somebody could rewind the podcast 10 minutes.
I recommend you get Scotty's Trident scanner.
Oh, wait a second.
sure.
Why? You just told me, the chat just said, why are you doing efficiency on the materials?
Well, here's the difference, and this was what I was trying to interrupt you with, rudely. Because of the sourcing of ship parts versus the amount of materials that we get as a G6 player, when you don't need any G5 materials for any buildings anymore, you probably have some researches that cost a little bit, but barely any. Are you ever going to be held back by G5 materials in building ships? Because we get more materials than we do ship parts.
That's a totally
from
fair
events,
point.
From choice reward tokens,
Sure.
from everything.
Yeah.
I do not need G5 material efficiencies at all, ever.
That's what I was saying too.
Yeah. I'll never be able to use them. I'll run out of parts. I'll run out of faction credits. I'll run out of everything else I need to build ships. You could cut my efficiency in half, and that would still be the case.
That's actually a very valid point.
I'm not doing more waves to spend more access keys to increase my G5 ship material efficiency.
Okay, that's fine. So we can cut that from the list if you want.
The Trident scanner.
I would agree with cutting it from the list once you're in G6.
Okay, we'll look at that.
Yes.
I think that's cool.
G5, you should get it.
All right. Now Omicron
like
says
if that's still something. Go for it.
Omicron says, but for those that are new to G5, entering into the 50s, different story. And that is another thing that we'll talk about. We're not looking specifically, like I said, I'm starting at this just from my perspective, but we're going to scale it for you guys here in just a minute. All right. But again, Scotty's Trident scanner. Now, I do remember Matter saying in the beginning that he was only single pulling this one. Well, if this one is so damn important, why are you single pulling it, bro?
Well, it's nice, but it does have other sourcing, so I'm not trying to rush it as quickly as the other ones.
Why not?
I like.
If it's the most valuable, wouldn't you take the best sourcing on it you can?
I don't think it's not the most valuable to me. It is a valuable one that people should be going for, but it's also super expensive and it has other sourcing, so I'm only single pulling it instead of double pulling it.
Fair enough. Okay, again, not a wrong answer, just not the same path that I'm taking. I will double pull this one, all right? It's the double pull. Here is the Trident scanner. I'm absolutely spending $700 a day, okay? I'm also spending on Anarax's Datapad and the Lerpa, okay? Come down here. The Lerpa is giving me extra loot from Krenim invading entities. Well, never a bad thing, all right? I would like to do less of those or earn more loot or make it longer in between times. Again, that's right, Shadow Fox, your mileage may vary. I'm always down for loot bonuses, pretty much anywhere. That's the Lerpa. The other one is Anarax's Datapad, increasing Apex barrier when fighting any non-Armada hostile. Well, hey, Apex barrier in PvE, not a bad thing. All right, we've been talking about how Apex barrier is few and far between when it comes to PvE. And here's Anarax's Datapad, which is a huge piece. Now, just as a quick point out, this is graphically displayed incorrectly. It is not a percent. It is actual Apex barrier. So currently, for example, I am at 1,000 Apex barrier. Okay. It is not a percentage. It is actual Apex barrier, okay? So when you take a look at this, that's been reported for ages and they don't fix it. It's not percent. It is actual 1,000 Apex barrier is where I'm at right now. The next level will get me to 1,200, and it maxes at 2,500 Apex barrier, okay? Which, by the way, again, also helps you in wave defense. So I like that. Anarax's Datapad, okay? So that's a good one to have. That one's on my shopping list. We talked about the Trident scanner. I'm also looking at the DTI temporal device, increasing isolated defense per round when any state is applied to target. Let me ask this question. Is anybody aware of whether or not this works in PvE, PvP, or both? Is it work against... Does it work against... Yeah, does it work against gold bosses? Yeah, good point. Does it work against cons champions missions? Does it work against invading entities? Does it work against armadas? Does it work against formation armadas? Does it work against hostiles? Does it work against revenge hostiles? Does it work against Jonathan Ingram?
Yes.
Sure does. All right, now, granted, isolated defense is one of those stats that is overlooked a little bit. because of what feels like a smaller impact. Matters. Is isolated defense something that actually matters today?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, yeah. I like it will always matter. I mean, it's becoming more and more diluted, obviously, but it's still a very important thing to have because a lot of enemies now and especially other players throw tons of isolated damage.
Sure. Tarpy, does isolated defense matter today?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yep. Well, if everybody else has it and you don't.
Fair. That's right. I mean, that's the best answer. Okay. Augments are throwing a bunch of isolatic. They've got high isolatic. Their isolatic increases per round. All right. Let's read this one carefully. Isolatic defense is increased per round when any state is applied to the target. I'm currently at 24%. Well, I've got other things that can get me probably a few hundred percent isolatic defense. But how many rounds is a Krenim Formation Armada going, for example? I mean, it's not one.
It can go a while, depending on what you hit.
It can go between 30 and 50 is the max. All right. Yeah. And most people are probably looking in the 20s. Maybe if you're Canine Tooth, you're looking in the single digits, maybe. All right. Brandig says 1, maybe 2. Nope. Not even for Canine Tooth is he maxing 1 out in 1 round. Not even for Canine Tooth. It does depend on which one you're hitting, but if you're hitting one appropriate for your level, let's put it that way. Okay. I'm hitting the 68s, and mine average probably 20 to 25 rounds. So if I'm stacking isolatic defense for 20 rounds at 24%, what do I end up at? Brandig, if you're killing them in round 1, you need to punch up, my friend. If you're killing them in round 1, you're shorting yourself some loot, brother. All right? You need to punch up. Okay? And if it's a warp range thing, use your disco. All right? Use something to get up there because I find myself capped by warp range. But yeah, if you're killing them in 1 round, you need to bounce up. All right? Now, you say the ones you do are. So you're talking about the formation armadas. I'm talking about the invading entities. These are the solo ones. Okay? The solo ones. Those are the ones. All right? So just throwing that out there. Isolated defense. And this one is a little bit deceptive. All right? This is a sleeper agent right here. This is a nice one. Mm-hmm. It's per round. And it stacks with everything else. All right, and there are some targets in the game. There are some targets that only go 1 or 2 rounds. Maybe not as important. But I'm telling you, for the ones that go big time, they matter. For the ones that go 10, 15, 20, 25 rounds, this is a huge, huge artifact. Massive, in fact. The longer the battle, the more important it is. Okay? What else is on my shopping list? I've got the DTI plaque. All right, DTI plaque. Let's see. Where is that one? The DTI plaque does this. Increases damage against invading entities and armadas. Well, that's not necessary. Tarpy, we can all take down the biggest invading entities in the game. Easy peasy, no questions asked, right? That's fine.
If you asked me that 6 months ago, my answer would be different. I can't hit 70s yet on the Krenim.
I mean, either. I can't get there. Cruzito says with a good relativity. All right, yeah, maybe. Krenim are invading entities. You're dang on right, Domo. Krenim are invading entities. Balabom says, yeah, I can kill any target in the game super easy peasy. Well, congratulations. Not everybody can. All right. I don't disagree, Lost In. It's actually very funny to me how many people in the chat are like, don't need that. Buddy, artifacts are one of the best research mechanics in the entire game. I've been saying this for 2 years. Any artifact that isn't maxed, you should be chasing around. And by the way, those of you didn't see Jules Verne's leak in the chat here just a little bit ago, I intentionally did not draw attention to it because Jules Verne must be feeling frisky tonight. But he gave you a leak. A big leak.
Ads for 3 minutes.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame. All right. Because there was a massive leak that Jules Verne must have had one too many twisty T's. All right. And he threw it in the chat here. But now I know people are going to be scrolling back through the chat looking for it. All right.
I'm just going to screenshot everything you said today.
yeah. Go into mod view. The moderator's got an advantage. D Woo says, "What's the timestamp?" I ain't telling you. Blaze says, "Which chat?" Sorry. Can't help you there. All right. Like I said, I intentionally did not draw attention to it. I intentionally did not draw attention to it because Jules made my butt cheeks clench. All right.
All right. If anybody wants me to send it to them, I need $100. And no, never mind.
Oh, God. All right. Dragon Keeper said it's not a great leak. Don't believe the hype. Dragon Keeper, you're so grumpy. Tarpy, I
Yes?
joke. I'm joking, and I'm teasing a little bit. But I am going to read his leak. I'm going to read his leak. DJz, says Jules Verne, there may be more reasons to look at all artifacts for potential upgrading, regardless of the immediate value. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys remember during DTI Gate? Do you guys remember when during DTI Gate, when I said I went to bat for you guys, and then I said, there's going to be some future content that could be affected by DTI Gate. And I had to compromise with him a little bit. Because I knew there was some content coming, and this was going to matter. Jeez, it's almost like Jules Verne knows what's coming. My gosh, it's almost like I knew what was coming 2 months ago when I gave you that warning. Those of you who are not maxing artifacts, what are you waiting on? Okay? Plugster says, it sounds to me like we're going to see a mess hall type of mechanic for artifacts. What are we looking at with officers right now? Tarpy, what are we looking at with officers right now in the augment expansion?
Something like Destros just mentioned in the chat.
What was it? What did Destros mention in the chat? I missed it. Destros, what did you mention in the chat? What is it?
So he says, what, don't tell me they're going to do some chests with maxed artifacts requirements.
Oh, that's weird.
Or some mechanic with you need X number of maxed artifacts.
Huh. It's interesting. Well, anyway, moving on. The DTI plaque. Okay? That's on my shopping list, too. Okay?
You want plaque? Get enough ghost grape energy, you're going to have plenty of plaque on your teeth.
And then I also, of course, mentioned that I have the quantum communicators on my list as well. So, for me, now, by the way, this is my shopping list. This is my today shopping list. Okay? This is my today shopping list. There's other things that could be on it for you. All right. Matters had mentioned that. Matters, why are you mumbling? What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say something?
No, I said any agony. You had the agony booth on there too, but I think you missed it, skipped it.
What? The agony booth uses mirror credits. It doesn't use access keys.
Oh, that's why it's a different separate section there. Okay.
Yeah. Has anybody? Am I just going crazy, or have I heard Matters mumble like every 6 seconds for the last 3 minutes? He's like, all right. Anyway,
eat cookie.
I think you're just crazy.
Might be.
In general.
I don't know. Yeah, both can be true. Lost It says yes. Okay. Agony Booth uses mirror credits, so I'm not necessarily worried about that right now. Okay, but that's my shopping list for DTI credits. Now there are a couple of other things. For example, these 4 items right here, which I'm going to put a screenshot in the graphics room. That would be Soren's Trilithium, the Anaran Execution Post, the Unimatrix Shielding, and the Multiphasic Chamber. Why am I no longer buying these, Tarpy? Why is Matters no longer buying
all of them, and you unlocked them.
What are they?
And now you don't have to. They're chaos techs.
Ah, they're chaos techs. Meaning that there's not really a huge benefit, and there is a benefit. Some people out there do this. But there's not a huge benefit to me to overpulling these. All right? Some people do because there is an overflow material mechanic. That's right, Alpaca. That's what I was just saying. Could you keep buying them if you needed chaos parts? Yes, you can. But there's other things in here, and this is what I'm going to show you here in just a second. There's other things higher on my priority list. But yes, Alpaca, absolutely. As an end game thing, you absolutely could continue pulling these to get extra materials for your chaos tech. And I'll demonstrate that here in just a moment. If you pull extra, here, I'll just go ahead and pull one. If you pull extra execution post stuff, all right, you're going to earn chaos tech fragments. And then you can go into your refinery for chaos tech, which I think is Continuum. The Continuum refinery. And down here is where you actually get to spend those overflow shards. So some people are doing that. When you earn extra shards of chaos tech, then it's converted into fragments, and then the fragments can be converted into extra chaos matter, tier up catalyst, reactors, and fusion rods for the chaos tech. Everything is chaos tech. All right. So you can do that. That is your overflow mechanic there if you want to do that. That is fine. Those are not currently on my list because of my budget. All right. And that's what I'm going to explain to you here in just a moment. When I'm referring to my budget is how I want to work this clock. All right. Everything that I'm wanting to buy, everything that I'm wanting to obtain out of this. And by the way, I, like Matters, have not even started to talk about officers. There's a number of officers in here that only take the access keys. They're all retaliation squad, which means that, in my opinion, most of them are poo-poo. Okay? Most of them are poo-poo. The officers that take mirror credits or the officers that take the original Section 31 credits, which also we are also earning from the elites, okay? Those are the officers that I want to spend time on, all right? I am not interested in any of the officers that cost access keys. All right? At least that's me. Now, you can put them on your shopping list. Maybe you just need more maxed officers. Maybe it's not at all about whether or not you want the officers. Maybe it's something like we're seeing this month, and you just need more maxed officers. Right? I mean, that's possible. Maybe that's something that you need to work on. Maybe you need more maxed officers. Well, this is a way to get them. It's not currently on my shopping list. Okay? This is not currently on my shopping list, but it will be eventually because my shopping list is going to ebb and flow over time based on what it is that I need, based on what I already have maxed out. Look right here. This is some of the stuff I added the currency. For those of you who don't have these chaos techs maxed out, if you max pulled those chaos techs, you're spending an extra 1,780 of the access keys every single day. All right. But once you're done with that, you can pull that out of your equation, or you can potentially shift your spend to something else. So if this is my spend, all right, the Zindi directives, Friendship 1, Amelia's plane, Anorex's datapad, the LERPA, Trident scanner, the DTI temporal device, the plaque, and quantum communicators, my spend, myself, is 4,240 access keys a day. That's my spend. Well, up here at the top, I just kind of discovered that if I work my clock, I can get 63,000. If I play this free to play, I'm only getting 107,000 a day. If I am spending 4,200 every single day and my income free to play is 107,000, do I have enough access keys to fully fund my spending habits for 30 days? And the reason I use this based off 30 days is one start every 3 days for working the clock, but we also only get one battle pass a month. All right. In the event that we get a bonus battle pass, that'd be fine. So we're using a 30-day timer here because that's how many starts that I've got. It's just the easiest measurement of time. In a 30-day period, I get 10 free starts. I'm also going to earn 7 free starts from the battle pass and 7 paid starts from the Wave Defense Elite Battle Pass if I so choose to spend $20. If I am free to play, I am earning 107,000 access keys, which means I can fully fund my spending habits for 25 days. Damn it. I'm 5 days short. Well, no problem. Now I'm going to take a look at my $20 paid Battle Pass. That should surely be enough to push me over the edge. And indeed it is. I'm going to fast forward and not bore you with silly math because I already typed this one out. At $4,200 a day with my paid Battle Pass, I can now fully fund my spending habits for 35 days. Well, that is now interesting. If I were looking to min-max this thing, Tarpy, where do I want this number to be almost precisely? Do I want it to be 25 days or do I want it to be 35 days?
35.
Or do I want it to be the exact amount of time? What do I want to max my return? That's right, Andy. I want it to actually be 30. I want it to be 30 days. I want to spend enough that I get all of my loot done in 30 days. I don't want a bank. That means I'm costing myself rewards. I don't want a shortage because that means I'm costing myself rewards. I want to add something else to my shopping list that will make this number 30 days exactly. Now, Domo has it right in the chat. Domo has it right in the chat. If you redeem your Battle Pass starts, you won't be able to earn the 3-day pull. So you got to be careful. Damn straight. Tarpy, enter in my lead up for the last hour. Right here. You got it, Domo. That's the point. You know what I did last month that I didn't do the month before? And it cost me loot. Brandig has the answer. You'll run them on the same day. Not necessarily, Domo. You don't have to run them on the same day. You do have to run them in the same 72-hour period. What I did this past month, Tarpy, when I was preparing this segment, as I told you, I did save my Battle Pass, both elite and paid, which burned me up. And then I had, 14 starts, plus I had 1 or 2 in the bank. All right, I had 15 or 16 starts. I had just pulled my 400th to get me my timer reset. My timer is now 70 hours. If I am working the clock, chat, what do I have 70 hours to do? If I'm going to work my clock, if I'm going to get 1 start every 3 days, what do I have to do? Omicron says run 4. No. Dragon Keeper says 5 a day. That will work. The short answer is I had to burn all 14 of my Wave Defense Battle Pass starts to get me down underneath 4 for my next clock pull. I had to run them all. Now, Cal DeVille, I didn't run them to 0 because that's dangerous too. You might get an event pop in on you. That's right, Voltron. You might get an event that pops in on you, so you got to be careful about rolling to 0. But I'll roll it down to 2 or 3. Okay? I'll roll it down to 2 or 3 because I need to make sure I stay under 4. I got to make sure I stay under 4, and I got to work that clock. So, am I going to be careful about the timing of claiming my battle pass? Absolutely. What if my timer, Tarpy? What if I came in right now? Let's pretend it's the end of the Wave Defense Battle Pass. Right here and now. Today. This moment. My Battle Pass or my Cypher claim has 19 hours, 56 minutes on it. Would I claim it today?
What? Sorry. I was typing.
That's okay. If the Battle Pass was over right now, if it was over today, if it was over tomorrow, whatever, if we've finished the 20 milestones, if I've done the 5 events worth, all right, and I had 20 hours on my Cypher redeem, is now the smartest time to pull my Battle Pass.
No, because you could get your free pull in a day and then pull your Battle Pass and
You're
then do
right.
a bunch of them.
That gives me 72 hours to run them. Cruzito says, sure, as long as you run them. That's exactly it. That's exactly it, as long as you run them. All right? I could pull it today, but I've only got 20 hours to get to 300. But if I wait till tomorrow, I've got 70 hours to get to 300. Okay? This is the min-max. All right? This is the min-max. You've got to keep yourself able to work that clock. TJ says you got to be careful. The Battle Pass might vanish before you make your claim. Well, it might, TJ, but Scopely will automatically grant those. I've actually done that. I have forgotten to claim my Battle Pass rewards before, they will automatically come. All right? But that'll totally mess up your clock. All right? It'll auto-redeem, but it'll totally mess up your clock. But we also know that there's grace period. There's grace period in this in the Battle Pass. Not only can you miss an entire 3-day event, but the event is 3 days. So you've got a buffer of up to 6 days. That's the highest buffer you can have. You've got a 6-day buffer that you can work through. All right? So you start prepping for that, TJ. You start prepping for that. Andy says, you can't remember to shield, but you remember to make these pulls. Yeah, this is part of my daily routine, Andy. I go through and I pull all these at the exact same time every single day. All right? Shielding is dumb.
Are you done on this part of the convo, or
no?
Okay.
Should I be?
Okay. I don't know.
You guys are rushing me tonight. What's going on? You and Matters are conspiring to shut me up. What? Am I not wearing?
Well, I don't want to be here for 4 hours.
Well, I'm not going to be here for 4 hours.
Right. So I was going to ask a question that Jules posted in chat.
All right. What's that?
So it was, scrolling back up, if you could only purchase one battle pass, so if that is the ARC battle pass with the choice rewards, the wave defense, which would you recommend? And there's a follow-up to this question as well.
Well, that depends on what your priorities are. I mean, the DTI store for me is all about artifacts. Okay. If you
could pick one,
it's got to be the ARC battle pass. It's got to be the ARC battle pass. I think wave defense battle pass is secondary, and it could be more important if you're focused on catching up with artifacts. But no, I don't think I could recommend it above the traditional ARC battle pass. I think ARC battle pass is primary. It's going to always be primary.
Okay. So even though the things that you are getting from this pass, such as the efficiencies from being able to pull the Scotty's Trident scanner more frequently and the Amelia's plane more frequently, those efficiencies might make up for
it could. I think
getting in a battle pass.
For sure. I think it's very important to note that's why I mentioned the artifacts. If you're focused on artifacts, then this is where your money is. Okay. And Tarpy's right. There's some valuable researches in here in the artifacts. But also, the ARC is always going to have a concentrated higher value. It's got your resources, materials. It's got your choice tokens. It's got the officer shards. It's got the current stuff in it. I think still the value is always going to be in a primary ARC battle pass for sure. But this is definitely a really good $20 follow-up, a catch-up mechanic, if you will, on artifacts. I think it's good. What's the follow-up?
Okay, so the follow-up is if you could afford 2 total battle passes, so 2 $20, influxes of cash. And this is not everybody, right? There's a lot of free-to-play out there. There's a lot of single battle pass players. There's a lot of single battle pass once a year kind of players. If you could afford 2 battle passes in 1 month, and in that month they either had the cash style, and this would be very dependent, they had the cash style bonus, or they had a second battle pass like we have the last few months, what combination of battle passes would you get? Would you get an ARC battle pass and a wave battle pass, or would you get 2 of the ARC battle passes?
I would get 2 of the ARC battle passes, and I'll tell you why. Again, same reason I just mentioned. You're always going to have more concentration of materials, choice rewards, officer content. That's an easy comparison. And the secondary reason that I'm going to point that out is we are still getting 17. If you work yourself properly, you're still going to get 17 starts, even from the free Wave Defense Battle Pass. That is enough for 107,000 loot. Then you formulate your shopping list. All right, kind of what we've been talking about. For me, the free-to-play path is only 25 days, so I can either get everything and then sit 5 days out, or I could take 1 or 2 items like Matters does, and I could drop them down to single pulls. All right, with the Wave Defense Battle Pass, I'm not discounting its value. I'm not, but it is definitely not even a top 3 in your priorities of spending throughout the entire month. It is a nice catch-up mechanic. It's got some really good efficiencies, but it's easy to adapt to your own play style. right? It's easy to adapt based on your shopping list. If you look at the math piece of this, if you are working the clock, if you are looking at what you get from the free track of the Battle Pass and you're still doing the Wave Defense Battle Pass, all right, then you can find a way to make this thing work. This is an interesting question. Blaze says, what would you have to cut out from your shopping list to fit it into the free Battle Pass? Well, let's take a look. Let's see. Let me make sure I've got my math set up the proper way here. That's 107, and this was based on... Okay, so what would I have to remove to get this number to 30 days? And for those of you in podcasts, he's basically saying, what would I have to remove from my shopping list to make my math line out on a perfect 30 days for a free-to-play track? Well, matters... let me ask you, because you've already recommended dropping down a little bit. Quantum communicators, you had mentioned, was something that you would drop out. You dropped to the single pull on that, right?
No, quantum communicators I don't pull. I got
you don't pull at all
early, and my command center's maxed.
Okay, so you know what? I'm going to say that for me individually, I don't know if I'm in that same boat. I think quantum communicators are still important. They also still factor into another part of the game, which I know Karkin and Putz will talk about later on in the next week or two. It still factors into Alliance tournaments very well. All right. I mean, it's only one task, but it is a free 10,000 task. So I don't know. Why is it not building right now? Because I never pulled that task. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to try to find the task, but mine's not maxed. I'm only at level 58 on the command center, and really I need to get it to 60.
Oh, shoot.
So I should be working on that, but I would say that is probably something that I could pull out of my shopping list. All right. So if I pull that out, I mean, perfect. That's what I need. Now that gets me to 30,000 or 30.25 days. That's all I had to do was just pull out the quantum communicators. I could drop it to a single pull. Quantum communicator single pulls 350, and then if I wanted, I could drop the rare Zindi to one pull every 2 days. I don't know if I like that idea, but for some of you that might be important. I could drop the DTI plaque completely. That would get me back to 30 days. But that's what I'm saying. This particular spreadsheet, while it's not shareable, okay, this is not shareable because it's so ugly. But perhaps I could send the bones over to Jules, and he could whip something into another tab to maybe make some kind of a copy, your own calculator. If you are interested in building your shopping list, all right, based on what it is that you can earn, all right, and building and customizing your shopping list to make sure that this number lands at 30 days. All right. Or this number lands at 30 days. In my case, if I'm going to spend $20 on the Wave Defense Battle Pass, I'm leaving 5 days worth of stuff on the table. I can probably now start to earn officer shards, or I could ramp up on the Zindi pulls. TJ says skip the Zindi pulls, but I don't know if I agree with that. I like the Zindi pulls right now. All right. So that may be something that I continue on, or maybe I pull more Zindi directives, or maybe now I add in officers. All right, which Captain Bull and JB are saying add in the officers. All right, so there's a couple of different ways. And again, your mileage may vary. This is something that you want to look at yourself and roll. Game Junior said not necessarily a bad thing to have a bank of credits until you have enough excess to tier or unlock the officers. Possibly, but I also don't usually... You're right. That's possible. All right. But I like to work my cooldowns. All right. I don't like to provide my account with an interest-free loan. I look at this like I do my taxes. I don't like giving the government an interest-free loan. I want my money now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want my money now. All right. I'm not interested in a huge tax refund because I'm getting there's no benefit. I'm not getting interest on that. All right. I want my money now. And that's kind of how I look at
that.
Is this. Now, in fairness, Cruzito, my command center, I held it just for this Alliant tournament. I will end up building this. I held it for this tournament. I never drew the task, so I'll go ahead and pull it once this tournament is over. I'll go ahead and get it going. I wasn't holding it for a long time. I was holding it for this tournament. If I got the task, cool. Because I had less choice tokens this time, so I had to be a little bit more choosy about my task. Tarpy, go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing with having a bank of those credits is you don't get to, it's not like the other DTI faction store where you can pull unlimited quantities of the officer shards.
Mm-hmm.
You get a certain number of officer shards per day. So there is no point in having a bank because then you've just put in a bunch of time that you might not need to put in later, but your credits aren't doing anything for you.
Exactly.
Like you're
That's
saying,
my
they're
point.
just sitting there. You can't use them all at once.
You're exactly right. I want my money now. All right. I'm not earning any interest. There's no benefit to sitting on them. All right. I'll take them now. Thank you.
And to be fair, there is actually a good idea to sit on command center upgrades for Alliance tournament events like this one, because I could do 3 levels, but it doesn't necessarily help me all that much on a daily basis. But that was 3 free tasks I didn't need for choice rewards this task or this tournament. And yeah, like there's no point in upgrading the command center unless it's, in some cases, unless you get it to 60 or you get it to 50 or you get it to some of those that unlock levels of your fleet commander's skills. Like it can sit at other ones and it doesn't really matter. And then you're waiting for the building that gives you efficiency for those parts to get up as high as you can so you can need fewer parts later. Sorry,
Now,
that was a long sentence.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. You're right. There's only some command center levels that actually give you some stuff. Cruzito says uncommon skill points. Yeah, but that doesn't come every day. It's a one-time gift. It does not come every single day. Okay, so yeah, no, I wish I was getting 600 skill points a day. That'd be great. You don't get 600 skill points a day. All right, it's a one-time gift. So yeah, there is some benefit to holding in on that. Lost in, thank you for your bits. Appreciate that very much. So again, for a level 70, I wouldn't expect you to understand that perspective. All right, but there are free to play that listen to this show that rely on the command center to give them a free 10,000 point task or 2. Okay, so I think that's important. Andy says, would the Prime Start bundle save you money in the long run after 5 months of buying the Wave Defense Battle Pass? Well, that is a wonderful question. Does it matter? That is a you question because I can modify my shopping list to make it work. All right. The question becomes, do you want more faster? That is what spending in this game should be. That's what this Battle Pass does, and it's why I'm not concerned with necessarily promoting it or explaining how it works. I'm not telling you to go spend money. I'm telling you right now, like, here's a free-to-play path that still gets you pretty daggone good rewards. If you want more faster, then yeah, Prime Start will give you more on top of all this. We haven't even done the math on Prime Start. I mean, what does Prime Start give you? An extra Wave Start every 3 days or every 2 days? I mean, Prime Start would get you another 10 a month. That's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot. So, yeah, it just depends on how much you want. Maybe Captain Bull says I should be working on these officers. Maybe I can fit in some more of the officers. Maybe I can do more rare Zindies. It's an extra start every 2 days. So that's an extra 10. Let's just, for the purposes of math, Burton, change the paid defense. You know what? No, hang on. I'll just add an extra little line here, okay? We'll call this Prime Start. And Prime Start's going to get me an extra 15 a month. 15. Okay? So, I mean, that is absolutely massive. What is it going to do for my income now? Well, gosh, now I'm up at $245,000. Okay? That means I can really add some buying power to my shopping list. Really, what I am shopping for now with Prime Start actually gets to be doubled. As long as what? As long as I'm working the clock. As long as I'm playing all of these starts. If I don't, I waste them. Then my money is wasted. All right? But if I work my clock, if I'm running all of these, that's right, Burton, as long as you engage with the feature, which kind of makes sense, right? Why buy the Prime if you're not going to engage with the feature? But if you are going to engage with the feature, all right, then you increase your buying power out of that store. And I'm not going to say that that's a bad idea, especially when we see brand new features this month that talk about the importance of maxing officers. And we haven't even talked about the mirror credits or the standard credits, because there's officers in here that cost all three. You've got officers that cost solo. Maybe not. Officers, looks like we do not have any officers that cost mirror, so I take that back. You've got officers that cost the solo access keys and officers that cost the traditional Section 31 credits. And, by the way, I'll point out, as if we did not know, that the elite waves do also pay hordes and hordes of Section 31 credits as well. All right. So not only are you increasing by doing these properly, we've only talked about the access keys with the artifacts. We haven't even touched on the officers part. Okay. Haven't even touched on the officers part. The officers part, I mean, that's huge. To be honest with you, if I was playing this properly, I would probably by now have extra tiers on Ducat, Wayoon, and Carol Freeman, and I'd probably be a month or two faster towards getting them maxed if I was working this the proper way, and should still be. I should probably be in here and spending down my Section 31 regular credits. I should probably be spending these down on these guys and starting to work on some of these to get the extra tiers towards the officers for the augment expansion. I absolutely should be spending my traditional credits. And by the way, it pains me to spend credits on tiering Wayoon, but it's no longer about, is Wayoon good when you tier him? Now it's just, is he maxed? Does he contribute towards my meta for the augment expansion? All right, so that matters. This is the power of your wallet. This is your buying power, rather, inside the Wave Defense Battle Pass. This is the buying power that you can get for working your clock versus not working your clock. Let me do this very quickly. I'm going to zero out the Prime Start Bundle. I'm going to zero out... I'm going to do what Matters is doing, and I'm going to zero out the clock. He's not working his clock. You know who else isn't? Dragon Keeper. Dragon Keeper is not working his clock. Let's take those out. Now my income is only $44,000 a day. Andy doesn't work his clock. Now, free to play, my income is only $44,000 a day. Well, that only gives me enough currency to fund my shopping list for 10 days. What's that, Tarpy?
Never mind. You're good.
I need to be very careful. I mean, if I don't care about any of this stuff, okay? And this is where I point out, this is the value that comes in there. If it's not important to you, K92 says, I've got all these maxed. Okay. Then you know what? Wave Defense you might be done. Andy says, I don't do it either. I'm done with all this stuff. Cool. What does that mean? It means I'm done with a feature? It means it's a grind I don't have to do anymore? Like when I'm done with it, I'm actually done with it? Holy smokes. That's kind of cool. Isn't that kind of what we asked for? And for the record, a lot of us aren't there. Very few of us. All right? Only the maxers, the big spenders. All right? But it is cool that you can be done with this eventually. And you get to determine how fast you get there. Whether you work your clock, don't work your clock, work your battle pass, don't work your battle pass, buy the Prime Star, buy the paid battle pass, whatever. Doesn't matter. You determine the speed at which you can acquire this stuff, and this calculator allows you to determine what your buying power is over a 30-day period. Okay? TJ would describe this as mastery. Sure. Yeah, being done with the feature. Absolutely. Mastery. How quick do you want to get there? All right. Well, the Prime Start Bundle and the paid Battle Pass, both of those pass my monetization requirements, in which they don't paywall anything. They just speed up the access in which you can earn things. And depending on what is important to you in here. Matter says some of this stuff is not as important. There's other sourcing for some of this stuff, and that is true. All right. Is some of this stuff important? Well, that is a matter of perspective. That depends on you and where your account is. All right. That is what I wanted to teach on with regards to the Battle Pass here tonight. We're going to take a very quick break. When we return, we'll come back. We'll wrap this topic up with some of your questions. We'll talk about the relativity here very, very shortly, just real quick, and start to prepare a little bit of a teaching guide as you guys are drawing near. Tarpy, have we hit the 100-day mark, or did you say it's coming up, or we just hit it, that the Relativity will officially become free to play? It's right around the corner.
It's been about a month. It's been about a month, actually.
Okay. So we're a few weeks late on this. People are starting to tier this thing up, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. How do you use it? And how should you be using it? And is it the same way that we were using it 3 months ago? Very, very interesting. We're going to answer those questions and more. On the other side of this break, my name is UltimatDJz. This is Talking Trek Live, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast. We'll be back right after these words. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Good evening. Welcome in. Talking Trek is live. My name is UltimatDJz. Appreciate you guys all being here for Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast. Good evening. Welcome into our panel. Matters and Tarpy are here after quite a long weekend. Tarpy, it's getting late. We're gonna actually wrap the show relatively. I say relatively early tonight. It'll still be earlier than what like a normal show would be, but we're already almost at 2 hours. So I figured like we're only at an hour, like 40 minutes. So I figure if we spend 20, 30 minutes on this next one, we could get out of here like 45 minutes early, and that'd be awesome. That'd be great.
Just stop jinxing yourself.
Oh,
You know that, right?
Poopy doke. All right, thank you, Shadow Fox, for your hydrates tonight. I appreciate that very much. No, I'm not streaming 4 hours tonight. Not doing it. Lost In has
Stop
already
saying it.
Lost In has already worked us up to what now? Five bonus nights? Five?
Yeah. You keep giving him more hours that he can do that to. So relativity.
Yeah,
Let's
you know what?
talk
That's
relativity.
right. That's right.
Focus.
We should make it so
Focus.
that you can't earn another bonus night on a bonus night. No, I feel like
This isn't a bonus night.
yeah, I feel like that would be. Damn it, that logic doesn't work. All right. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate you guys all being here. Welcome in. We just wrapped up our conversation on the Wave Defense Battle Pass. I did see one question that I forgot to answer, and it was a very, very good question. I like this question. If Lord of Chaos asked this question, DJs, 5 months of the Wave Battle Pass or the Prime? That's actually a really good question. I saw the incorrect answer being given in chat. All right. I like this question, Chaos. I'm going to answer it for you, okay? Let's take a look back here. The incorrect answer was given in chat. They said it doesn't really matter. It does. All right. It actually does matter. Let's look at this mathematically, okay? We can ignore the clock, all right? And by the way, Prime Start does allow you to kind of ignore the clock. Not if you're going to min-max it, okay? But it will allow you to continue earning from Prime Start without the cap, all right? So that's one note to take. However, the second thing is the paid Battle Pass provides you 7 in a month, okay? Paid Battle Pass provides 7 extra starts in a month. The Prime provides you 15 starts in the same 30-day period. All right. So if you bought the Battle Pass 5 times, you're getting 35 starts. If you bought Prime Start and you used it for 5 months, you're getting 75 starts. Okay. It's literally over 100% better. You would get 35 out of the same time and the same spend that you would get 75 from the Prime. So the correct answer is if you were going to buy the Battle Pass for 5 months or spend $100 on the Prime and there was no in between, then you buy the Prime. All right. Not only that, but the Prime also helps in other loops, including Formation Armadas and Krenim Armadas as well. It never expires. It doesn't run out. It doesn't have a finite lifespan. So, yeah, in 5 months, you're still already way ahead. But in month number 6, the Prime still keeps on going. All right. Now, the question Shadow Fox says, if you're still engaging with the loop, you will be. You will be. You cannot... A normal person, I know Cruzito and K92, they'd be like, well, I'm already done. All right. Normal players are not going to be done with that store in 5 months. You won't be. Okay? Matters, are you going to be done with the store in 5 months? You're not even pulling full pulls. You going to be done in 5 months? Hell no.
Nope.
There's like a dozen officers in there, guys. I mean, if you were going to max everything in the store, Cruzito, you always get called out. You and K92 always get called out because you're the ones in chat that always say, I don't need that. I already finished it. Well, that's great. You guys are leading edge. That does not make you normal. That does not make you representative of everybody else. I have to call you out as the exception because your advice is fundamentally flawed for the other 99% of the player base. All right?
So,
your advice is great for other 70s. All right? If you're done, if you already bought it all, you're done with it. All right? But nobody else is done with it. What's up, Tarby?
with no officer efficiency for the lower decks crew, which I just looked at Freeman, you would need to full pull for basically a year if you had no other shards of Freeman and no other source to max her.
There you go.
So if you have some shards and you have some efficiency, obviously it's less than that, and that is with full pulls. So You know, 300 days from now, do you think you'll be done with every officer? Probably not.
No. Much less 5 months. All right. So again, coming back to the question, is the Prime a better buy? 1,000% yes. So Lord and Chaos, don't let Cruzito or Dragon Keeper, all right, or anybody else tell you that they said neither. No, obviously that's not the correct answer. Okay? That is not the correct answer. Neither. All right? And by the way, you're right, TJ. Freeman does have an efficiency, so that'll speed that up a little bit. But that's one officer. There's a dozen in there. Cruzito said to buy the Prime. Okay, I might have missed that. Dragon Keeper then said, yeah, $100 in my pocket is better. Well, fine. I'm not disagreeing with that. But if somebody says, what is the better value, A or B, keeping it in your pocket was not an option, Dragon Keeper. All right? So, A or B, which one is the better value? Prime Start is the better value. Hands down. No questions asked.
It also gives you Borg polygon directives, which are incredibly slow to come in.
Yeah, you only earn one start of those a week. The Prime Start bundle builds that up to what? 3 starts a week now? I think it's one every 3 days. Or
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Riskbreaker has an interesting point. So they might add some other type of wave eventually as well. And when they've added new things to the Wave Pass, they have replaced directives that were already in it. So in the future, whenever they add more waves of whatever type they add, if they add more, they're going to take away some of the starts that are already in the Wave Pass. So the Prime Start will keep you with more of these solo wave ciphers for longer. I don't think was the point he was trying to make at the time, but it might be an even better thing once they add in G7 waves for people who still need the lower waves.
Yeah, I can see that being a possibility. I want to be careful about whether or not that is the a thing to do right now because of that, but it's certainly a possibility for sure. Somebody asked where that Prime is. It's going to be under the research tab if you're looking for it in the store.
It's way up. It's not back that way.
Oh, did I miss it already?
It's way more recent than the ones you're looking at because they go by time they got added.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I looked over it. I didn't see Prime Start here. It should be in the research. Wouldn't
it be in the Armadas one?
If you go to the research itself, you can click on it and it'll take you directly to the purchase.
Yeah, they do have those. They do have those deep links now. That's right.
And it's Starship Tree, very far right, as far as you can go on the top.
All right. So yeah, the research there, Prime Start, and where do you click through? I don't see where you click through.
Click on the particle.
Oh, okay. Store, Prime Start bundle. If this works, I'll actually be very impressed.
Oh yeah, it takes you.
Boom!
It takes you right to the
there it
purchase.
is. Takes you straight to the offer. There it is. Prime Start bundle. Now where is that? Oh, and you hit the back button. It takes you back to the research. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that works. That's great because the store is so crowded. But yeah, it's called Prime Starts in the Starship Tree all the way top and farthest to the right. Broken Wolf says it's in the Prime folder. That's what I was looking in the Prime folder, but I must have overlooked it because I was in the Prime folder.
This is a great time to use the new search. Function.
Yeah, there is a new search bar. If you log into Star Trek fleetcommand.com, there is a new search bar there, which is very, very cool. Yeah, but no, I went in here and looked for I'm in the Prime folder. Right here, I'm in the Prime research folder, and I didn't see it. Now somebody said it wasn't all the way to the right. Is it all the way at the end on the right? Wait. Oh wait, what are you telling me that all of these Primes are here, but they're outside of the Prime folder? There's a second Prime folder that Oh my God! Now come on!
What?
Can we organize this a little bit better? So wait, we got a research folder that has Primes in it. But then we have a Prime research folder that has different Primes in it. Why don't we just put all the
And-
primes in the prime research folder? I don't know. That makes a little bit of sense. Silly.
And the wrong images on the next two. Because those aren't the right particles for those.
Oh my God. Not only are there 50 packs for primes inside that one, but then obviously over here you've got all these primes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 40! There's 90 primes that I haven't bought! Oh my God. How many do you think there are actually in the game? If there's 90 primes that I haven't bought, how many actually exist?
And some of those are tiered.
Yeah, that's right. Shadow Fox says 247. Actually, Spock's Club could tell you. I think, do all the primes actually have the name Prime in them? Could you actually just search Prime on Spock's Club and see how many there are?
No.
No? That's just unfortunate. All right. Anyway.
Most of them do.
Yeah, I know a lot of them do, but if all of them, if even 5 of them don't,
Not
then your
all
number's
primes.
going to be, yeah, not all primes. Then,
Can we have a new hashtag of not all primes?
Wait, why? No, who out there has all primes? I bet even Canine Tooth does not have all primes.
I bet he will after you say that.
I bet I better have a damn creator code before he does. All right. he will now, says Broken Wolf. No, wait, Canine Tooth. Wait.
Hi, JB.
Wait till I get you a code first. All right. Yeah, James Bond says, I sure don't. Me neither.
Hey, look, Jules has it. Jules got you.
Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, let's click on this little button and see how many primes there are.
240.
240 primes. All right, it's actually a little bit disgusting that I only have 90 of them showing. That means I've got a lot. Ugh.
There's going to be a bundle coming in the future where, depending on how many primes you have, is going to increase the number of rolls that you get.
It could be coming. Could be coming somewhere.
Oh, my
Okay.
Could be.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness gracious. Broken Wolf says, is that a 240 listing of all primes? Yeah. Yeah, this is all primes. You want the prime sheet? I'll give you the prime sheet. I don't remember who actually started this. Was this yours, Jules, or was this
Read the
Silvus's?
front page. Read the front page.
Let's see. Yeah, by Silvus. Yeah, I thought it was Silvus that started this project. And also Deja Thoris, and I know that Rev contributes, and Jules does a little bit too. But yes, Silvus put this thing together. I'll put the link. Oh, Jules already did it. There you go. I'll put it in the graphics room for those of you who would like to take a look at this. This is a list of every single prime in the game as of the month of May. So actually, there's primes from June that are missing. Just throwing that out there. So there's actually more than 240.
Hey, Jules, you need to make a page on there that has. I'm going to double check that there isn't one exactly what I'm talking about that literally lists all of them, because I see the summary one.
Yeah, down at the bottom, he hasn't broken down by tree.
Yeah, so you should have check boxes next to all of them so people can go in and compare their Spock's Club to what's possible, because this isn't searchable in Spock's Club yet.
Kill First is like, okay, hold my ale. Get
Oh
it?
my gosh.
Beer, not ale. Yeah, Kill First is like, okay, I'm working on that. I'll have it done by tomorrow. All right, guys, good evening. Welcome in. That is Section 31 and a little bit of breakdown on that. Let's talk a little bit about the relativity, and I want to do this relatively quickly. Perhaps what happened to all my ships, I was attacked during the commercial break. Jonathan Ingram's teammate and partner in crime, I Kill You, just apparently took a good whack at me and took me out with a cube, therefore proving that it doesn't matter what officers and or ships I have, I'm still going to be rum-wrecked by cubes all day and every day. It's fine. Doesn't matter. There's no protection in this game other than a shield. All right. Listen, I want to talk about the relativity. We're going to briefly focus on the loop, but in an upcoming episode, probably either later this week or next weekend, we are going to talk about the strategy behind it. Matter said something to me that blew my mind the other night, and the more I got to thinking about it, the more I realized he's right. And even our team, Captain Bull, JP, even our team are probably not playing these things right. All right. Matters, you said that the relativity at this stage in the game, the relativity is just like the Stella. Why would you say that, Matters? Explain your philosophy.
So that's specifically for the formation armadas. It is. So a lot of people they're punching up on these armadas, sending their G6 ships. They're crushing high targets, and a lot of people are getting the reward boxes in very high quantities with the loot in it, and they have stockpiles of that. But they're struggling with the wreckage, the other loot that you just get as the cargo drop from the formation armadas. And the relativity gets a very, very large loot boost. So anyone that has a relativity is getting up to 1,000% loot boost. But with those large ships showing up, it's diminishing that loot. And those large ships are only getting 10% of what they're taking from the relativity. So almost identical kind of mechanic to the Stella, where you run all Stellas because they get a massive loot boost, and the relativity gets an even bigger one.
I feel like players have
just
missed out on that. Even me. Like, you guys, the reason this came up is because you were watching me run these the other night, and I was trying to make sure that each leg had one relativity. Meanwhile, we had a bunch of G6 ships that were coming to as we call it, be the anchor, and all we did was basically give Scopely back 90% of the loot. Now, Domo says, but you need large ships to kill them. But do you? I'm going to remind you again, after Matters brought this up to me, and I did some research, and I looked at the research and the math and the abilities of this ship. Guys, here to tell you, he's exactly right. This is the relativity. This is the Stella all over again. All right. Shelby says relativities are squishy. Yeah, compared to your G6 Epic. That's not the point. Loot is the point.
Yeah. You're not going to take a tier 5 relativity and start smashing upper 60 formation armadas with it, obviously.
That's right. All right. Andy says these. Go ahead.
However, you could take that same T5 relativity and jump down to a mid-50s or maybe even a 50 or below a 50 and get way more loot than you ever would by going to a mid-60s with your G6 ship.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Mord says, holy crap! Putt sounds good today. I know, right?
Crystal clear.
Cruzedo, let's see what you've got, Cruzedo. Come on up to the stage, raise your hand, and I'd like to hear what you've got to add to this. I agree. Wilhelm says, I disagree. There's more than one strategy to do that loop. I don't disagree. All right, I'm not saying what is better or what is good for one. Again, we've always said mileage may vary. Okay, but mathematically, he's 1,000% right. Mathematically, more of your team is going to get more loot by consistently hitting a power target that you guys can all hit with your relativities. This is no different when it comes to loot, is absolutely no different than taking a Tribune and throwing off the loot gain of your Stellas. All right? Wrecking your team's ability to gain loot is an absolutely real thing. And the reason that it kind of came up is because I'm in that boat. Right, I cannot keep my refinery fed, and somebody was asking why. Why can't you keep that that refinery fed? That seems ridiculous. Well, it's because we're trying to figure out what 2 players should bring a relativity, and the rest of them are bringing huge ships. All right, meaning that the loot share is very, 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 very small. Cruzedo is on our stage. He's going to tell me why I'm wrong because he's an op 70 and he just buys his loot.
I disagree. I was actually coming on here to back your story up.
Oh, wow. Yes. So it was only the first segment he was going to tell me to buzz off on. All right, Cruzedo. Cruzito, tell me exactly why this reminds you, or this is reminiscent of the Stella Loop, and is there math to back up this claim?
Yeah, so we, my team, they just got all their relativities, what was it, about a week ago or so? And they were so used to sending their G5 and their G6, and everybody wanted to go and hit the 70s and get the max loot. And again, for the min-maxers, it's a little bit different, right? So obviously, the higher you can get up, the chests are a little bit better. But for the average player, I think we came out to the numbers of a tier 1 equals about a G4 maxed epic. Tier 3-ish came out to be at a G5 max. And I want to say tier 8, tier 8 was equal to a G5 max. And then it was the tier 3 to 4 was at a G3 and then on down. You know, that's how it worked out. And then to what Matters was saying earlier, by everybody bringing a similarly sized ship, then the loot distribution is better all around, as opposed to sending a G6 Epic and everybody else is just along for the ride, and they're there just as meat shields.
Sure. TJ says, Cruzito, what ships do you send to the bottom neutral leg?
So there's a misconception or maybe a misunderstanding. The relativity weapon bonus is for any leg.
Yes.
What it says is there are technically 3 abilities. There is the active ability, which is the state, right? So it'll apply the state to counter it. And then you have the 2 passive abilities, which is the weapon damage. So think Stella. Well, Stella didn't have it, but think Vidar, think Telios, where they have that massive weapons
yes.
ability. And then the other one is the loot ability. And so the numbers that we have, and DJ, if I can get them, I'll send them out to you. But if you look at the numbers, it is for every tier, the weapon goes up by the level, right? So every 5, it's the same at tier 1 to 4, and then 5 to 9, and then 10 there. So as soon as you get to that, tier 5, it's the same weapon damage all the way up because it's based on level. So as long as you can get it to that tier, that weapon damage is solid. And if you take a DPR, multiply it times this 140,000%, I think that's what that is. Take that and you multiply it against the base value of the relativity for that one there, it will actually outperform the grade equivalency for that. So in our case, we took out a bunch of tier 4s and we went out and did a 60 just for the heck of it. Or maybe it was a little bit lower. But anyway, we took them out and all we did was bring in relativities. We had 3 tier 1s or below tier 3. And we did pretty well on it. And so I think, again, it's all about the weapon damage. And then you get the loot bonus. And then in this case, everybody is trying to fire first round. You're going to have the sacrificial lamb like you would on the old school mega cubes. One person is going to be the target because that thing hits first. That person's going to take all the shots, and then everybody else is going to go and fire a bunch of shots at it. And I think the firing pattern, if you put Tolra on it, comes out to be, I think, like 4 to 5 shots for that first round. So you kill it quick with the damage bonus.
I want to direct your attention to the screen if you guys are in our live studio audience, and I will throw this chart also into our graphics room at 11:54 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the spreadsheet that has been prepared by Jules regarding the armadas, the Krenim formation armadas, as well as some of the stuff on the relativity and its loot gain, all right, and its abilities. And let me see if I can find... Actually, I might not see that handy right here as far as the ship part goes. But I do want to demonstrate the loot that comes from these armadas. Now, Average Joe says, I thought loot bonus was only for encrypted intelligence. Let's go back to the game, all right, and take a look. First of all, we do see base encrypted intelligence gained by 500% when finding Krenim invading entities or armadas, all right? That is absolutely fact. Does that mean that there's no other loot that comes from this target? Let's be clear about this when we talk about, thank you, Broken Wolf. Research tree. Let's go and take a look at the research tree, guys.
Yep.
Okay. In the research tree, in the Starships research tree, we're going to come down here to where the relativity starts its research. All right. And we are going to see, here we go. Okay. Krenim invading entity loot. That's not what we're looking for. We are looking for Krenim formation loot. Here you go. Increases Krenim temporal wreckage gained from Krenim formation armadas with the USS Relativity. It's 1,000% at max. Starts at level 1 at 50% and goes all the way up to 1,000%. This is the same exact model as Stella. Okay? The loot gain from the research boosts using that specific ship. Okay? Now, you're right, Average Joe. The ship itself will also give you a loot gain on encrypted intelligence, which, by the way, is no slouching thing. I'm almost relying on encrypted intelligence for the purposes of my rep game right now. It's massive. But the Relativity Krenim loot formation research is also banking you an extra 1,000% that you are not getting if you use a standard ship. So again, how much loot are we giving back? How much loot are we giving back? Garrick says, all right, let's be clear about the tooltip damage bonus. It says specifically invading entities. Well, let's read, okay? Actually, what this does is applies a state. The anti-charge shift and the anti-static shift applies the state, okay? Then we come over to the damage, and it says increases base damage against Krenim invading entities. That is the 140,000% that improves the damage against invading entities. You are not incorrect. All right. By the way, the encrypted intelligence does work against both. All right. Let's come back into that research again. Let's come back into the research again because you've got research in here also for Krenim formation damage. That is for everybody. Okay, 2,500%. That's going to help against all of them. There is extra isolytic, Krenim formation, invading entity. This one is extra shield health repair using the relativity. Shield mitigation using the relativity.
Massive.
All right. Increasing shield health points by 150% using the relativity.
Yeah.
Okay. You got a lot of relativity stuff in here. Okay. Increasing isolytic damage with the relativity. All right. All this stuff matters. Plus, then, of course, you have the DTI favor as well. So this stuff is all surrounding the relativity. Now, even if one research doesn't matter, or even if one ability does not affect these targets, everything else is still worth it when you're going against and using the relativity against the formation armadas. The simple fact that the targets are able to be killed by regular ships is probably a guise. It's probably a misnomer. It's intended to allow traditional ships to do it, but you're certainly not getting paid to do it. This is one of those pitfalls that Jules would describe in a loop that allows you to use other ships, but is it efficient? Right? Is it the most effective way to do this? All right.
Hey, DJ.
Yes.
The other thing that makes this much like the Stella loop is that if you remember, when you first got your Stella and you had people in your alliance that had really big Stellas, they weren't really all that big compared to yours. So the spread was a lot smaller. And so you're going to find that, the lowest ops players in your alliance that can even have a relativity are going to be able to pick up significant loot, even if they are playing with an ops 70 with a maxed relativity.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask this question in chat. A lot of you guys have been talking about doing the 70s. And by the way, we can come in and take a look at this loot. Here's the loot chart that I wanted to pull up and show you guys just a moment ago. Let's, Cruzito, for the sake of argument, since everybody just got their free-to-plays here within the last 30 days, let's look at a level 50 formation armada. All right? And by the way, If we go back and ask
I sent you
Cruzito,
some screenshots if you want that we used the other day on that.
you did a level 50. Is this what you sent me? Was a level 50?
Yeah.
Okay. So
now there's some bad crews on there, so kind of keep that in mind. But you can easily see the crewing is works. But yeah, there's some.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm going to pull that up here in just a second. Let's talk about the loot
Yeah.
first, and then we'll talk about the DPR. Well, we'll talk about the loot and then explain why the relativities are going to be fine. Okay? So let's look at a level 50. All right? The level 50 on the charged and static legs is going to drop, and he is going to drop 1,900 temporal wreckage. All right? 425,000 encrypted intelligence, which, by the way, it's absolutely massive when you look at the loot bonus from the relativity. All right? This right here, this column should be screaming at you. All right? But temporal wreckage absolutely matters. Okay? Then in the neutral leg, we have a little bit less of both of these. All right? These are the base loot figures. Then you come over to the starter chest. Starter chest has some extra wreckage in it. Where did that come from? Is that you, Cruzito? I just heard some wicked echo there for a second. All right, so we see the starter chest, participant chest, tri-victory chest, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All this stuff comes in. By the way, loot gains, not going to affect any of these chests. Let me say it again. Loot gain will not affect any chest. Okay? Nothing. So, if I have, let me just ask this question. If I have 4 relativities that come in and start a level 50, they're going to, let's presumably, we're going to split it equal right down the middle. Okay? It's not ever going to be that way, but let's just pretend that it is. 1,900 divided by 4 is 475. Now we're going to multiply that by 1,000% or multiply it by 10. That's going to get me 4,750 loot out of the base. All right? My starter chest, if I am the starter, is going to give me 3,350, and I'm going to get 5,000 premium artifact tokens if that's important to you. Okay? So that means that as a starter, with 4 relativities against the level 50, I'm going to earn 8,100 wreckage. 8,100 wreckage. Game Junior says, can low-tier relativities have 1,000% loot bonus? Probably not, Game Junior. That's probably not. But
yeah, well, it's.
Yes.
I think it's ops. I think it's ops based, the research. So it depends on your ops.
it's G6 locked. All right, so we need to find what the ops lock is. Find me what ops lock would be for ops 50. Let's go ops 50. Or ops 55. Somebody look that up for me real quick and we'll go through it. Again, I'm going to show you what this could be for me. Because, by the way, I'm in the same boat. I've got a tier 7 relativity. My team is still showing up with cubes and retards. Okay? Or enterprise E's. All right? Ops 50 is 250%. Okay. We'll come back to that, Berlin. Hang tight. Okay? So, for me, I can earn 8,100 off of starting a 50. What are you guys actually starting? Because my alliance is running anywhere between 60 and 63, primarily because of warp range. Look here. The 60 is warp 450, but the 63 jumps up to 1,000.
Okay. DJ, this also goes to kind of something that we've talked about in the past, right? Where, again, you can always open up a rift, get all the way up to the top and all that.
Sure.
But this allows your team then to be working with like-leveled ships so that its distribution is equal across the board. So, again, if you're in the tier 1s, tier 2s, tier 3s, maybe even up to 5s, yeah, you're going to be going at a 50, maybe a 53, 55. That's great, because then that means everybody's going to have the like tier there. No, you don't have to go all the way up to the 70s, which, again, all you're doing is sending cannon fodder, because guess what? The folks that are there, let's say you or somebody has a, 50, they get rifted up there or whatever it is. Great. All you are no kidding getting is the starter chest and nothing else.
Nothing else.
Because it doesn't matter what you bring. you're not going to match up to 150 billion powered cube.
You're
right?
exactly
so
right.
that's a 99 point, right.
Let's go back to what the original day one teaching was on Armadas. It's a team sport. It has definitely worked its way away from that. I see I'm running G6 Max Zindi Armadas solo. It's a 15-minute timer. I'm getting there. I'm starting. I'm speeding up. It's me alone. We have gotten away from this, okay? But let's do a little bit of math. And we used to do this math based on 4 runs, all right? We used to do this math based on 4 runs. 1 as a starter and 3 that you participated in, right? Like if you went with a team on your specific leg. So let's pretend you get 12 people that all 12 of them have 1 start. And you're going to run 12 of these, which, by the way, is going to take 2 hours because it's 120 minutes, which is miserable, all right? Give me some freaking speed ups for Formation Armadas. Please, for the love of God. I'll buy a Prime for it. I'll buy a Prime for it. Okay? Give me speed ups for Formation Armada. Sidebar. Now, let's pretend that you got 12 people that each have 1 start. The loot bonus of Relativity is exactly like that of Stella. You can, and 1 person gets paid. As a matter of fact, I can go all the way up. I could rip, I could disco, I can do whatever. And that's right, Plugster. Well, no, not really 40 minutes. There's not enough systems for you to run them all, okay? I mean, you could, all right? You could. But anyway, let's pretend that you had somebody that could rip all the way up or disco all the way up and perform and start a level 70. You're going to get, out of 4 runs, you're going to get 21,000 loot. You're going to get 1 starter chest, right? 1 starter chest. That's all you're going to get paid because you're not going to get jack diddly squat of the loot out of the base of the Armada. None of it. You're not going to get any encrypted intelligence. None of it. 0.
And also, DJ, there's another thing to consider as well. So if you look at a lot of our officers that we've gotten and a lot of the research and the favors and whatnot, they rely on being hit. So what used to be the old day, right? Send up the NX-01, send up the Voyager, and just let me get a ship up there. That's great. But if you look at what the firing pattern of these formation armadas, they fire first. And in a lot of cases, you want to be hit, right? There's a lot of weapons and you rely on getting that first hit that you're going to more than likely survive so that you can then trigger all of your things that you need to, all your damage bonuses, your crits, your ISO, your Apex Red, whatever you want to throw at it. And sometimes by throwing in ships that are weaker or whatever it is, they're taking those hits that you need in order to provide the damage.
All right, and he's referring to some of these researches that require hull damage or shield impact to be able to proc. All right. Now, we talked about just a second ago, if I ripped up and I started a level 70, I'm going to get 21,000 loot. All right. I saw somebody in chat say a second ago at Op 60, I can get 550% loot bonus. So let's run with that for a minute. I think that's a good number. We'll run with that. Okay. Let's take a look at the level 50 that we were just looking at just a moment ago. If I am going to split the 1900 4 ways, all right, and by the way, I am playing in 4. I'm playing in 4 of the 70s, but I'm only going to get paid loot on 1 because it's a starter, and I'm not going to make diddly on anything else. So let's go down to the 50s. Let's all use relativities, and let's see what happens. I'm going to get my share. That's 475. I'm going to multiply that now by 5.5. So that's 2,600 loot ballpark, okay? And I'm going to get my starter of 3,350. But I'm also going to get 2,600 3 more times, okay? 13,750 loot. That is what I'm going to end up with. Yes, I could have earned a starter chest of 21,000. That is if I'm going to be able to finish the level 70, if I can rip up there, if my team is successful, and I'm not saying that most people won't be, All right. But we are also dropping 20 levels down to a 50, which, by the way, if the math holds, 4 tier 3 relativities will be able to take out any of the 3 legs of a level 50. Tier 3. Did you hear me? Tier 3. So maybe we can hit a 53. Well, the math almost doubles at that point. Let's look at the 53. Nice big jump there. 675 per. I'm going to multiply it by 5 point. I'm going to multiply that by 5. That's 3375 times 4 runs, 13,500 plus the 4,700 starter chest. I'm getting real close to that 1 starter. What am I also earning that I'm not getting if I go and run 170 as a starter? I'm going to earn massive amounts of reputation. You got it, Matters. I'm going to earn massive amounts of reputation. Huge amounts of reputation. What about the level 60? TJ, I don't know. My team hasn't done this yet. Cruzito, what do you think the equivalent in all relativities would need to be to take out the 60? Probably tier 7, tier 8? Maybe?
Not even.
Not even.
So,
Matters says less, okay?
My tier 8 can solo the 60s.
Your tier 8 can solo a 60.
Yeah, and you get a lot of loot when you do that.
All right, you're taking away from the lesson. Stop it.
Well, it's the same as doing 4 runs with other people.
He's being silenced. The power of Discord silences you.
As if you do.
Okay, Matters, that's actually not working out, and I'm not actually doing it. It's not me, but you're not coming through. So let's come back. Let's do the 60 then. Matters, stop talking. Let's do the 60. Okay? He doesn't know what's happening. Yeah, and he's gone. There you go. All right, let's do the 60, which, by the way, Matters says a tier 8 can solo a 60. So what do you think, Cruzito? A bunch of tier 4s, a bunch of tier 5s can take out a 60? Is that ballpark?
What is it, 4 per?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say at least tier 6 and above.
Yeah. Okay, let's try tier 6.
Now a lot of this though, so if they're naked with no research, with no favors, with none of that, then no, it's probably not possible.
I don't disagree. Yeah, you got to have some research. Yeah, you got to get some research going. This, again, just like Stella, right? The power of Stella came from the research. Okay? And by the way, TJ says, do all the relativities in the top 2 legs need to activate the buff? No! By the way, why wouldn't they? Just FYI. They're free. Okay? Literally cost nothing. Just pop the buff. Who cares? All right? However, no, nobody needs, they don't all have to, because it's checking for the state to be applied. All right?
The way we worked it when we did our test was the starter is the buffer. Is kind of the way we worked ours. So
and
that
by
you
the way,
never forget and have it wrong.
It doesn't necessarily matter, to be honest with you. That is a good pattern to have.
Right.
But if everybody ran it, who cares? It doesn't cost anything.
Sure.
So just whatever leg you're in, pop the buff. All right? It literally doesn't matter.
Now, the only thing I don't know, and this would really be interesting, I was going to ask Jules about this. I don't know if you accidentally put the wrong buff, if it counters it. Right, that was the only part I was not sure about, because it says it's going to take away a state. But I think if you do the opposite, I wasn't sure whether it actually added it back in. So that was something I needed to do some research on.
I am almost certain you can use both buffs. As a matter of fact, there is a research somewhere that will give you a little bit of extra, but that's only on invading entities. So I don't think it actually has an impact. That is a good thing to test. We'll have to dump into that and check it out. Now let's look at the 60. I'm sorry?
I don't think you can run both buffs at the same time. It
You
turns the
can't.
other one off.
No,
but
it
if
does
you had
not.
Another ship.
It does not turn the other one off. It applies a state.
Okay.
Yeah, it will not deactivate the other buff. It just applies a state. So that's why, remember, we ran the invading entities running both states. That's why we would run both exos. Now, you can't run the exos with these, but it is just a state. So you can have, now, one ship can't apply both, if that's what you were referring to. One ship can't do both because it'll turn off the other one. But if I'm running one and you're Tarpy, you're running the other one, then that's not going to hurt anything.
Right, and I was saying the same ship can't run both.
Correct. That is correct.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's
I know.
take a look at the loot here on a 60. Okay, 5,300 divided by 4 is roughly 1,325. Again, we're only using half of the loot bonus. All right, we're using 500%. The loot bonus for Ops 60 appears to go all the way up to 1,000. But again, we're just going to go with 500%, which looks to be roughly Ops. What'd you say? Ops 50. Okay. Or Ops 59. I don't remember what I saw in chat. So let's use roughly, Lord of Chaos says 60. Ops 60 is 550%. All right, so let's go with that. Number, your mileage may vary. Okay. 1,325 times 5. That's 6625. We're going to multiply that number by 4, and then I'm going to add my starter chest, which is 9,300. Now, running 4 of these with a team, I'm now at 35,800. I'm going to issue a current challenge. I don't know where you guys are free to play with this ship. I'm actually just now at tier 7 on mine. Okay. Mine is not, I'm not all that great with mine. I am tier 7 with mine. So, according to Matters, I might be able to solo a 57 potentially. But I'm kind of with Cruzito. I think a bunch of tier 6s, even my tier 7s, I bet as a team we can totally take out a 60. And by the way, even at tier 3s, we know we can take out a 53. So do your own math there. Riskbreaker says I'm tier 5 free to play. I would give it a shot between the 53 and the 57. See what you can do.
But now
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say, DJ. Right now, as a free to play, you're probably either you could probably be at most a tier 5, maybe a tier 6.
Okay. So check your teams between 53 and 57. You're going to earn more loot and you're going to earn more reputation. All right? You're going to. I would recommend that you just give it a shot. Give it a try. This is the Stella mechanic, all wrapped up and all repeated as far as the ship's ability. All right? Do not.
So one thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and one thing to just kind of keep in mind, right? Because everybody's talking about, well, it's going to take us 40 minutes and it's going to do all this thing. The average player, like you like to say, right? I don't even know if there's any whales that have multiple relativities. But what this does, especially when you're always running into formations, right? You get to have 12 unique players in your alliance, all getting loot at the same time, as opposed to what happens now, right? You go up to a 60, a 7, a 70. You get the 3 whales. They all send a ship to every one of them. And in a sense, you're going to lose some of that loot because you can only get 1 chest per, right? The Tri-Wizard and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The rest of the loot just goes away.
Yeah.
This is meaning you're going to grow your alliance together faster because that means 12 unique players are all going to get loot at the same time.
What it's referring to, guys, is the Tri-Victory chest in this screenshot. All right. What we used to fondly call the Tri-Wizard tournament chest. All right. You can only get 1 of these per formation armada. All right. If you put ships in 3 legs, you still only get 1. All right. So wouldn't it be nice if all of your team, as he is suggesting, is earning quantum tech instead of just 4 of you or fewer? I've literally seen 3 people go out and just stack 3 big-ass ships in all 3 legs and roll it. Okay? So this is Stella. You are literally slowing your team down by bringing ships that are huge. And this is not a new story. Anchoring ships with massive, massive G6 epics when you got people bringing up NX01s and all this stuff, you're not doing them any good. You're not helping them in any way, shape, or form. All right? So bottom line is, this is Stella. These, now that players have it, listen, I'm here to tell you. Here is your 2 sentences, Tarpy. If you can put together a team of 12 that have tier 3 relativities, then you should not ever be using other ships in these ever again. There's your 1 sentence wrap up. If your team has tier 3 relativities or better, then you should be calling for all relativities. Period. Done. That's it.
The other thing is there was a complaint of like, oh man, if we run 4 of them, it'll take 40 minutes. Well, if you run them in the 50s, there are multiple systems. You can, maybe not, everyone's running a 57 or a 55 or whatever they are, but you can go up and down and you can have, daisy chain them and you can get 4 done in 20 minutes or less.
No, you could. That's absolutely true. All right. That's absolutely true. So paperwork.
All those systems let people disco and rift into them if they're under G6 as well. So you won't have all of the G4s grumpy that they can't get to the 60 and the 63 systems that were giving everyone else more loot later. So everybody can get there, not just the G6.
That's right. So this is, like I said, a briefer segment. We'll spend more time on crewing then. If you are going to run in this thing with a relativity, what then becomes the crew? We'll talk a little bit more about that. Do keep in mind a couple of pointers. First of all, only one person needs to bring hull breach. All right. I know that BLT is a common staple of everybody's below deck, but matters. Obviously, organization would need to be of paramount importance if you were going to try to diversify your abilities. You don't have to do that. Let everybody run the exact same crew. If you want to keep it simple, let everybody run the exact same crew. All right? We'll talk a little bit about what that is. In the meantime, right now, I just encourage you to give it a shot. Try with your relativities and sneak up on a smaller target. If you want to try the 50s or the 53s, but I want you to start kind of just seeing what it is that you think you might be able to do with this thing and experiment with a little bit of punch up. Get rid of the bigger ships and try relativities. This is this is Stella when it comes to loot. You're giving away all of your loot. You're literally giving it away. And one of the most secret, most valuable hidden gems of this entire loot is reputation. You guys all talk about grinding in Mirror Universe and how much reputation it gives you. This is so much more than that. You guys praise Mirror Universe for reputation grind, yet Relativity gives you more. You just got to use it. Okay? Relativity mathematically gives you more. So try it. Give it a shot. That is the Relativity, at least for the original, the entry part of this. Give it a shot. Everybody who's got it now free to play, give it a go. We'll talk more on crews and loops a little bit later, and even what buffs will work. Some buffs are effective, some buffs are not. All right, because of the damage boost and et cetera and these things. So we'll take a look at that a little bit later. Some exos are going to be worth it. Some exos are not. But now that people are starting to play with the Relativity, listen, the Krenum formation armadas and the Krenum invading entities, those are fun targets, especially with a Relativity. So it's time to start exploring that now that everybody has the ship and taking a look at how it should have been played and how it should have been played from the designer's perspective, which, again, I'm going to throw this out, should have been much more like it was with Wrath of Khan. Players are going to form habits. And when it's 3 or 4 months before a player can even unlock a ship, Tarpy, their habits are already formed. Players are not going to wait 4 months to engage with these targets. They're going to do it with the ships that they've already got. And 4 months later, habits are formed, and good luck breaking those. If you want this loop to be played as it's intended, you want the ship to have value, you want the ship to be used for what it was built for, you've got to put it in the player's hands early. These habits are nearly impossible to break, and here you are 4 months later, and people don't even know what the value of your ship is because they couldn't use it before, and now nobody's used to using it. This comes back to why a Wrath of Khan style sourcing is absolutely vital, especially when you build a mechanical engineering design like you did with Krenum. You have to have those tools in the player's hands right up front. So there is that. Okay, yeah, that's right, Shelby. Now that more of your alliance mates are getting them, you got to figure out the right way to use it, and 4 months of practice says otherwise. Before we get ready to wrap up, let's go around the panel very quickly. Cruzito, thank you so much for your comments tonight. Appreciate you so much. Thank you for being a part of the audience and contributing tonight. That was very helpful. Appreciate the information. Thank you so much. Matters, let's go to you for our final thoughts and our wrap up.
Well, final thoughts are get rid of those other ships. Just use a Relativity. You'll thank us later.
There you go. Nice, short, and brief. There you go. Tarpy, final thoughts on Relativity? Anything that you'd like to throw out there to the listeners as far as, is there anything that they should try? Or do you have any questions of yourself or from chat that you saw that we need to address before we go?
Pretty good. Mostly what matters, I'm looking forward to trying it with my alliance, to see how many people actually listen.
My
That's going to be the
alliance
challenge.
won't. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
neither
exactly
will
right.
mine.
That's exactly why I said what I said at the very end. Habits are hard to break. My alliance is going to look at me like I've got a third eyeball. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll be like, what? No, I'm going to be like, listen, we're going to start 53s, and nobody's to bring another ship. My team is going to think I just freaking died. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to see how it goes, but they got to see it to
Running
believe
the
it.
bigger armada is always better, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Especially when the ones gave different loot.
Ride that whale tail. Ride the whale tail. Absolutely. Appreciate it. All right. Anything else?
Mm-mm.
All right, Putz, anything from you? Final thoughts?
Yeah, but it's kind of self-serving. It's not relativity based, but I did want to say that Lube has resurrected Brits and Yanks, and we recorded our most recent episode with video this morning, and it is up already and posted. And you can check that out on his Discord.
Awesome. Fantastic. That was always a really fun little thing. A little brief teaser onto what you guys talked about today, maybe potatoes or anything like that.
Yeah, the topics that we talked about were what our favorite movie was in Star Trek. We also talked about the upcoming Strange New Worlds, and then our Freedom and Reason section was we talked about the flag because it was Flag Day yesterday. So we talked about, how did the Union Jack become the Union Jack, and how did the Stars and Stripes become the Stars and Stripes, and just some differences there.
Fantastic. Check it out on itslube.com. That's LEWB. Itslube.com. And you can find it in his Discord. The Brits and Yanks podcast is back. You guys be sure to go check that out. Harold, don't necessarily go just yet. We're getting ready to wrap up the podcast. But the live studio audience did indeed earn an opportunity to win a free $100 support pack. That is coming up right after our rolling credits. However, you do need to join us over on Twitch. The YouTube channel is not integrated with our giveaway system. So, Harold, just pop right over to Twitch. If you don't have an account, it's super easy to make one, create one very quickly. Costs nothing. Come on over to the channel. It costs nothing to enter. And you too, in our live studio audience, even if you're listening in podcast, there are advantages to being a part of the live studio audience, and it is absolutely free. There's no limited space. You can come on in at any given time, and you have an opportunity to win a few extra little goodies here and there, but a lot of our giveaways still happening over in the Discord and on the podcast. Please be sure to visit us online at Talking Trek STFC. That's Talking Trek STFC for you to be able to find all of the different mediums and all the different places where we provide our content so you can maximize your chances of winning. For example, how about a cruise? That would be great. Visit our website at TalkingTrekSTFC.com and click on Win a Cruise at the very top. That's right, Talking Trek is giving you and a friend a cabin aboard Star Trek The Cruise 9, which is taking off from Port Canaveral this coming February. We're going to be very, very excited about, wait, is it 8 or 9? 7? 10? I don't remember. It's one of them, and you can get more information on that at StarTrekTheCruise.com. Thank you guys so very much for hanging out with us here tonight. Hope you got everything you needed. Lost In says, please make that last little bit a segment. I mean, if I cut it out, it's going to be like 30 minutes. I don't know if I'm the right person to do it. I might have to ask Griffin if he can condense it down to something much, much shorter. But we'll give it a shot, and we'll try to make that relativity piece something available for everybody in a shorter, more condensed version on YouTube. Thank you guys so very much. I appreciate that. Oregon Wesley says, hey, real quick, DJs, I got 1,000 prime mirror particles, and I chose mirror research. I could have chosen 15% isolitic damage for all ships. Did I mess up? No, I don't think I messed up. Besides, you'll be able to pick up the other one a little bit later. I personally do like isolitic damage. That's just me. But free primes are free primes, baby. All right, and you'll have an opportunity to do that a little bit later with the next event store as well, okay? You're good. You're good. Yeah, there's a lot of good choices in that list of choices. You did all right, my friend. Guys, thank you so very much. My name is UltimatDJz. Thank you for being a part of our live studio audience. Thank you for listening in podcast. Thank you for watching on YouTube and here on Twitch. We appreciate it. We'll be back with you Tuesday night for our next Twitching Trek here on Twitch and on YouTube. And we'll take a look at what is happening as we approach week 3. Take a look at how you guys are progressing through Wrath of Khan and Priority 1 ATAs and so much more. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. My name is UltimatDJz. I'm your friendly neighborhood cat person saying meow for now. Love you, minute. Catch you on the next one. Good night, everybody.